Yukiheim, said Jiraiya. Here we are, guys, in part 26 of this story. In the land of waves, our favorite blonde encounters the Kyuubi. Watch the subsequent events unfold as Naruto uses the power that was sealed inside of him on the day of his birth. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Now, let's begin. 2 weeks. It had been 2 weeks since the two of them departed on their much anticipated trip through the world. For the most part, they had just been walking. For some reason, Jiraiya seemed as if he wanted to get away from Konoha, on the west side of the 5 elemental nations. When Naruto asked, Jiraiya said that he didn't want to draw any unwanted attention. Currently, the duo was walking through a village in the land of fangs. This is going to be great. I'm going to get so strong, exclaimed Naruto. Hey, Uro-Sennin, huh? Uro-Sennin? Naruto was looking around frantically, but his perverted godfather had seemed to have vanished. Where did he run off to now? Giggled Jiraiya with a perverted look on his face and a slight trickle of blood coming from his nose. 2 weeks of just traveling was hard on him, and the hot springs were calling, or rather the women in the hot springs. Not bad. Not as nice as the women in Konoha, but not bad at all. Just a little more, need a slightly better look, there said Jiraiya quietly as he inched his way into a better viewing position atop the building he was peeping from. Everything was going fine until his foot slipped. Eek, pervert! Shrieked the women as he fell face first into the hot springs and, to Jiraiya's delight, the breasts of one woman in particular. It didn't take Shikamaru's genius to figure out who gave Jiraiya the worst of his many beatings at that time. Eek, pervert, why am I not surprised, thought Naruto as he suddenly heard a scream through the village coming from the direction of the village public bath. Well, so much for this training trip, replied Kurama, Naruto's demon tenant. Although I am surprised, I thought it would only be 1 week before we heard the shrieking of vixens. Well, time to see what the damage is, replied Naruto. The blonde made his way through town towards the public bath. Upon reaching the bathhouse, Naruto saw his teacher, tied up in a tree and the word pervert written in marker across his bruised and bleeding face. Naruto sighed before cutting Jiraiya down. Well, what do you have to say for yourself, asked Naruto as Jiraiya regained consciousness. Definitely worth it, said Jiraiya with a perverted grin as he remembered the soft and plush breast landed in. Naruto just sweat dropped as Jiraiya began to clean himself up. About 30 minutes later, the two of them found themselves at a clearing outside the village. So are you actually going to train me, or is this going to be another one of your research trips? Asked Naruto. Oh come on, what's wrong with a little research here and there? After all, research is what keeps up on our toes with new ideas, said Jiraiya, looking at Naruto's "you are kidding me, right?" expression. Okay, I guess we can start your training. And jutsu won't be the only things I train you in, hee. I'll be honest, I had been planning a trip like this since I originally came back while you were training for the Chunin exams. After all, I am your godfather and I need to spend some time raising you, said Jiraiya. Naruto nodded at that. He knew the reason why he never met Jiraiya before that first meeting at the hot springs. Jiraiya had mentioned that he had to keep up and maintain his spy network to keep an eye on Orochimaru and Akatsuki. Naruto found out that Jiraiya was the one who had been sending him money every month, and for that, he was grateful. The rate that most of the villagers were overcharging him as a child, he would have been broke after a single day had it not been for Jiraiya providing some money for him. I honestly wish I could have come back earlier, but as I've already told you, my hands were tied keeping you and the village safe from external threats. Don't worry, I understand. So what sort of cool things are you going to teach me? Asked Naruto. If it was anything like the previous 2 times he had trained with Jiraiya, the excitement was reaching the point where the blonde might actually explode. As I said, I was planning this trip before we first met. I had originally planned to teach you how to fight genjutsu and tap into the Kyuubi's power, along with a few other things, but that seems to be redundant now, seeing as you and the Kyuubi have come to some sort of understanding and you can use the Kyuubi to dispel most genjutsu. However, that doesn't mean this trip is a lost cause. Oh no, there are plenty of things we can work on now that we have those issues out of the way. First, we have Fuinjutsu, said Jiraiya, handing Naruto a few Fuinjutsu scrolls. Those scrolls should be able to fill in any holes on normal Fuinjutsus. And then you still have your book. By the way, how are those knives working? Not bad. I made one of them for fire and also another one for water. They still overheat, or I guess turn to water for the water one, after some use, but they last a lot longer than the normal kunais and I don't have to make new ones, I just have to give the current ones time to cool off. I guessing that's the chakra draining aspect of these knives? Asked Naruto. Yep. I got those knives for you so you wouldn't have to constantly remake your absorption seals when they overheated or whatever. Also, I think the more you use them, the more they should be able to hold before reaching that point where you need to let them cool down, explained Jiraiya. Now I've just gotta work on incorporating them into my seals on my wrist, said Naruto. It's not that I can't do it, it's just I'm not really sure how I want to do it yet. Hey, well that's Fuinjutsu for you. Anyways, I say we keep working with that as we have been. I'll help you with the seals if you need it, but you seem to be doing pretty well on your own for the most part, said Jiraiya. Okay, I think I can do that. Now, what did you say about jutsus and kenjutsu? Asked Naruto. Well, for kenjutsu we need another teacher for you since I'm no kenjutsu expert. However, I do have a friend that I'm sure will be eager to take you on as a student for a few months and train you. After all, he was the student of your great-great-grandfather when it comes to swordsmanship, said Jiraiya. Wow, really? Who is he? If my great-great-grandfather taught him, then he must be really strong, exclaimed Naruto. His name is Mifune, the leader of the Land of Iron. We'll go there in about a year, but I've got some other things that we can work on till then, said Jiraiya. Naruto was wondering who exactly this Mifune person was, but if his great-grandfather trained him, then no doubt he would be an excellent teacher. And perhaps he knows something about this sword, thought Naruto. As for the jutsu, I'll teach you the basics of water and fire, but I'm honestly not going to train you in jutsu that much because I want to see what sort of jutsu you can come up with on your own, said Jiraiya. Although there is one jutsu I wouldn't mind helping you on. Your father was a great inventor of jutsu, the Rasengan being a prime example, and I think you've got that bit of him in you, said Jiraiya. I also chose water and fire because I thought those elements would be much easier for you to master than lightning or earth, even with your shadow clones. But why are lightning and earth going to be so difficult for me? Asked Naruto. Because of your wind element. Your wind-natured chakra is much stronger than any I've ever seen, even more so than your father, and that's what's going to make earth and lightning so hard for you. Lightning because wind is a natural insulator, and earth because if you think about it, wind is one of the very few things that can wear down earth, said Jiraiya. Now, pack up your lunch because we are heading out of here, away from any sort of civilization for a few days. I figure the best place to start might be training you how to utilize the toads more effectively. Huh? What do you mean by that? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya sighed slightly. Toads are useful for more than just combat. They are also very skilled at infiltration amongst other things, and it's about time you begin learning about all the wonders a toad can do. And, Bunda kind of wants to talk to you. Jiraiya said that last part really quick, knowing that what Gamabunta had in store for the kid wouldn't be pretty. What was that last part? What's so wrong with Gamabunta? I know he may be a little grouchy, but he can't be that bad, said Naruto. Oh, you have no idea what's coming, thought Jiraiya with a worried look on his face as he tried to recall the first meeting between Minato and Gamabunta. Summoning jutsu. Hey Gamakiro, said Naruto as the Jiraiya sized, orange battle toad appeared. Gamakiro greeted Naruto before returning back to Mount Mabaku. Okay, so it looks like you can summon Gamakachi, Gamatatsu, and Gamakiro at will, and you're starting to get the feel for some others. Now I want you to try and focus as much of your chakra into the jutsu and we'll see who you can summon at this time, said Jiraiya. Right. Summoning jutsu, said Naruto, focusing as much of his own chakra into the jutsu as possible. A huge plume of smoke appeared and a large purple toad with a spiked Sasumata and round shield on his back. He's getting pretty good with the summoning. To be able to summon Gamaken on his own. Thought Jiraiya. Hello young summoner. And hello Jiraiya-san, greeted Gamaken. Hey Gamaken, responded Jiraiya. Good to see you. I'm just teaching young Naruto here how to control the summoning of a larger variety of toads. Gamaken turned his attention to the blonde standing on his head. It's good to meet you, Naruto-san. You may summon me whenever you need, but I should warn you that I am rather clumsy. With that, Gamaken disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto landed on the ground, panting as he had used up quite a bit of chakra, with summoning toads about a dozen times within the past few hours. Why don't we call it a day and get camp set up? You can work on some Fuinjutsu later, but I'm getting hungry, said Jiraiya. Naruto straightened himself out and nodded, his own stomach growling in agreement with Jiraiya. Don't worry, now that you know how to summon them, the toads that you're familiar with should be much easier to summon. It's always the first summoning of each toad that are the most exhausting. As of now, he was familiar with how to summon Gamakachi and Gamatatsu, the samurai-like Gamakiro who he had summoned before during the second Chunin exams, the messenger toad Kisuke, another battle toad named Gama, a tracker toad named Gamashibu, a gourd toad by the name Gamarasuk, and a few others. That last toad, Gamaken, was pretty cool. He was as big as Chief Toad, said Naruto. But what was that about him being clumsy? Oh, that's just Gamaken for you. He's really not that clumsy, even though he always insists he is, said Jiraiya. There is one more that I want you to work on summoning before we say hello to Bunta. For some reason, Naruto was getting the feeling that he really wasn't looking forward to that meeting. He had summoned Gamabunta once, and that was to fight Shukaku. Even then, Gamabunta seemed really stubborn and grumpy. After dinner, while it was still somewhat light out, Naruto was going over those sealing scrolls Jiraiya had given him. He figured he'd take a look at them before going back to the Uzumaki seals. For the most part, they were more utility seals. There were some seals that may have uses in combat, but he figured most of the combat seals he would be using would come from the Uzumaki seals anyways. Jiraiya was also working on something, most likely Icha related, summoning jutsu. The following day, large aqua blue toad wielding two swords on his back appeared that introduced himself as Gamma Hero. The toad was rather quiet, but Jiraiya said that Hero was just that way. Despite that, Gamma Hero did say that he would fight with Naruto if needed. Okay Gaki. Take a short break. We'll summon Bunta tomorrow. You're going to need all the strength you can get if he has in store for you what I think he has, said Jiraiya. What? Asked Naruto, who was now worried tomorrow might be his last day now. Jiraiya smiled at this. Tomorrow was going to be interesting indeed. Anyways, why don't we start working on your taijutsu? Did you bring those taijutsu scrolls from Uzu? Asked Jiraiya. Naruto nodded and unsealed the taijutsu scrolls from his book. Jiraiya took a detailed look over the scrolls. Yeah, these are definitely the Uzumaki taijutsu scrolls, and they're older too. That's good. The older ones are more likely to carry the more advanced forms. Wait, so what exactly is so special about the Uzumaki-style taijutsu? Asked Naruto. I told you that the Uzumakas were experts in taijutsu, among other things. These scrolls contain the forms of the Uzuken, the name they gave to their signature taijutsu style. It's a very fast taijutsu style that focused on strong and disabling attacks. In a way, it was similar to that guy Umo's taijutsu style, but much more refined. However, the problem with you is that while you may be able to use it, you won't be quite fast enough to make effective use of it, said Jiraiya. What do you mean, not fast enough? Asked a flustered Naruto. Jiraiya threw a fist towards Naruto's face, stopping himself a mere centimeter from the blonde's nose. You didn't even have time to react. The Uzuken requires extremely quick reflexes to get past your opponent's defenses before they can react. The Hyugas, Mitogai, and anyone with a Sharingan are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head that have the speed and reflexes to keep up with it, if memory serves right. You mean you know this style? Asked Naruto. Kind of. I've fought against it before the Second War in kind of a spar when I went to Uzu while it was still around, said Jiraiya. Needless to say, I fought your great-grandfather in a taijutsu spar and got my ass handed to me. Wait. You knew my great-grandfather? Asked Naruto. I met Morio-sama once and his father, Shuichi-sama. Did I know they were your grandparents? Not until I saw that family tree, said Jiraiya. They had my utmost respect, and were noble and honorable people. I can tell you a little more about the Uzumakas, but I'm not the best person to tell you. Up until now, your taijutsu has been very sloppy brawlerish. From what Tsunade informed me when she went through the academy, the teachers sabotaged your taijutsu among other things, said Jiraiya. What? But why? Asked Naruto, trailing off as he realized the answer to his question was right there on his stomach. It could have been worse, but it seems like Iruka was able to correct some of the damage done to your taijutsu. But a refined taijutsu style would benefit you greatly, said Jiraiya. To be completely honest, if those idiots had taken even the slightest interest in you at the academy, there's no doubt in my mind that you could have been right up there competing with Sasuke for Rookie of the Year. But then again, it never hurts being the doby of the class now, does it? I mean, I turned out pretty well, didn't I? Silence. Never mind, Jiraiya sighed. Anyways, we need to work on your speed and strength, which is why I want you to make a set of gravity. They have the same effect as weights, only they aren't as clunky as the things that guy makes Lee carry around. Naruto nodded and went to making the seals. He placed 4 of them on a set of arm and leg bands, and after applying them to himself, the effects felt were immediate. The seals were only set to about 1.2x the normal gravity, but even then Naruto could feel the increased force trying to drag him down to earth. Good. You'll wear those for a few days before we take them off to allow you to become accustomed to the new level of speed before increasing their effect and reapplying them, instructed Jiraiya. For the rest of the day, Naruto was trying to get used to the effects of the gravity seals while he began learning the Uzuken katas, with Jiraiya trying his best to correct the forms. Summoning jutsu. Huh? Oh, it's just you. What do you want, punk? I was in the middle of something, grumbled Gamabunta. What do you mean? I thought you were the one who wanted to talk to me. Replied Naruto. Bahaha. Why would I make time for a brat like you? Grumbled Bunta. Hey Urosenin. Tell this overgrown toad that he wanted to talk to me, demanded Naruto. Eh? What? I never said anything like that. Denied Jiraiya. Crap, why did he have to drag me into this? Sigh, he may have grown and matured a little, but deep down he's still the Gaki I met back in the hot springs. Oi! Chief Toad, I was the one who summoned you. So now tell me what it is you want to talk about, demanded Naruto. Shut it, you little snot-nosed punk. I don't have to listen to you, just who do you think you are? Grumbled Bunta. There was only one who earned my respect, the Yondaime. Wait, you knew my dad? Asked Naruto. So this punk really is Minato's tadpole? Hey, this will be interesting, thought Gamabunta. Your dad, eh? Very well, punk. I'll give you a chance. Huh? A chance? What do you mean? Asked Naruto. If you really are his son, then prove it. You must stay on my head until dusk, said Bunta. That's all? Hey, this will be easy, said Naruto as Bunta took off, straight into the air with a screaming Naruto on his back. Or not. Help! Gamabunta landed with a ground-shaking thud that nearly threw Naruto off of his head. However, the blonde remained. If his dad could do it, then so could he. As Naruto just barely regained himself, Bunta shot off, dashing away, nearly throwing Naruto off again, being saved only by the collar of Bunta's coat. Oh, I'm beginning to like this toad more and more. Not only did he glassify Shukaku, but now he's giving the kid the ride of his life. I can feel the kid's terror and it's like music to my ears, thought Kurama. Tell him to go faster. What? Why the hell would I want him to go faster? I'm just barely hanging on here, screamed Naruto. However, this scream was external, meaning that Bunta heard it as well. This not good enough for you, punk? Fine, I'll go faster, declared Bunta as he picked up the pace, and Naruto found himself fearing for his life even more while cursing the Kyuubi even more. Off to the side, Jiraiya was getting quite a laugh. Yep, just like Minato's initiation. Well, if I know Naruto, he'll either hold on or die trying. Jiraiya then reached into his pack and pulled out his notebook. I could really use some inspiration right about now. Perhaps if Naruto's still conscious after tonight, I'll help him with that jutsu. After hours of holding on to Gamabunta, the sun began to set as it started to disappear behind the distant mountains. Hey, almost there, just a few more minutes, thought Naruto. To say he was exhausted would be an understatement. Bunta had put him through numerous powerful jumps and earthquaking landings, dragging Naruto through the ground, trying to scrape the blonde off, and even trying to submerge Naruto once or twice. But now, with about 5 minutes of daylight, when Naruto thought the worst was over and he had it, Bunta picked up again, with renewed ferocity. 5 minutes later, the sun set and Naruto remained on top, looking like he had just finished a battle against a hurricane. His clothes were shredded, putting him down to 2 pairs, and he was scraped up all over the place. During the entire ordeal, his injuries would heal themselves only to be replaced by new injuries. So you really are Minato's tadpole, huh? Asked Gamabunta. How? Pant. The hell, Pant, did my dad do this? Panted Naruto. Hey, you only made it worse on yourself by asking me to go harder and faster, laughed the toad. Boss. Anyways, you made it. I'll give you that, punk. Hey, so, what was it you wanted to talk to me about? Said Naruto. Nothing much, that was about it, said Bunta. What? So all you wanted to do was throw me around like a rag doll? Asked a flustered Naruto, regaining some of his spent energy. Yep. Where are you, Jiraiya? Shouted Bunta. Jiraiya hopped out of a tree in front of Gamabunta as the chief toad grabbed Naruto with his tongue and set the blonde on the ground. Okay, punk, there's one last things you've gotta do before I even consider accepting you as a summoner. Did you get the sake? Right here. I'm just glad we got out of Konoha before Tsunade realized I bought out all of her favorite vintage, said Jiraiya. Jiraiya was heard across every nation, and Jiraiya knew exactly which buxom blonde that roar came from. Jiraiya pulled out a storage scroll and unsealed a few barrels of sake. Eh? What are those barrels for? Asked a battered Naruto. Your initiation, said Jiraiya. Naruto just looked at him confused. It's the final step of your initiation as a toad summoner. You and I are going to share a cup of sake, said Bunta. What? But I'm too young to drink, said Naruto. Jiraiya just laughed. Actually, you're not. You're a Chunin, right? Naruto nodded. Then under the old enough to kill, old enough to drink law, you're allowed to drink, and there are certain shinobi-only bars in Konoha that will cater to you. Naruto just looked at the toad sage suspiciously. No, I'm dead serious. It was a rule erected for the shinobi population because when a gaki like you becomes a ninja, they are officially recognized as adults of the village, giving them many of the privileges that adults carry, such as the consumption of alcoholic beverages. However, it was revised to that drinking was limited to those of Chunin rank or higher so that we wouldn't be dealing with a bunch of drunk 12-year-old Jinan. Although I guess they didn't account for 12-year-old Chunin, explained Jiraiya. After all, to get an addiction like the one Tsunade has, you have to start early. But don't worry, if you don't go overboard with the drinking you won't turn out like her. Great, So he's trying to turn me into a drunk, thought Naruto as he nearly deadpanned. Unfortunately, overboard is exactly what you're going to do tonight, exclaimed Jiraiya as Bunta poured the sake into his giant toad-sized Sakazuki. Okay kid, I'm going to say a few things and then you're going to drink as much as you can, understand? Said Bunta, who then shot Naruto a glare. And you'd better not disappoint. Got it, chief, said Naruto. Why do I have a feeling I'm going to regret this? Hey Furball, can you keep me from getting drunk? I can, but there's no way in hell I'm missing that. Haha, laughed the Kyuubi. Griot, said Naruto. I take it Furball isn't going to help you out tonight? Asked Jiraiya, catching Naruto's reaction. Naruto nodded and Jiraiya just laughed as he took his own bottle. Very well. Uzumaki Naruto, by sharing this Sakazuki with you as per your initiation as a Toad Summoner, I Gamabunta, the Toad Boss, officially recognize you as a summoner, said Gamabunta. Now, if you will take a drink from the Sakazuki, your initiation will be complete. Gamabunta glared at Naruto and the blonde gulped. He knew he wasn't going to get off easy, so with his usual resolve he submerged his face in the sake and began taking a few large gulps of it until he couldn't drink anymore. The alcohol burnt going down his throat and he could immediately feel it taking effect on his body. With no tolerance or Kyuubi filtering out the alcohol, it hit him hard and fast. So, how do you feel Naruto? Asked Jiraiya. Shoot it, you, do him fox. I've had enough of, laughing. Slurred Naruto. Kurama was laughing his ass off at his drunk vessel and the drunk Naruto couldn't tell the difference between only talking to his tenant and just blurting it out. Naruto stumbled back until he tripped over himself and landed flat on his ass. Hey! Senin. You're not peeping tonight in there, there's that cute girl over there, shouted a drunk Naruto. Jiraiya's head immediately turned only to see that the cute girl was a tree trunk with a few budges in its trunk that kind of gave it a womanly shape. But she kind of looks like Hinata-chan, so if you even think of peeping, I'll kill her pervy ass. Jiraiya couldn't hold his laughter back anymore as he rolled back. Oh yeah, if he's thinking about girls when he's drunk, he's definitely got an inner pervert. And I'm going to do everything in my pervy powers to bring it out. Muahahaha. Even Bunta was getting a good laugh at the drunk blonde's babbling. Finally, the alcohol hit Naruto at its full effect and the kid passed out. He's going to have one hell of a hangover tomorrow morning, said Jiraiya as he raised his bottle to Gamabunta and the two took a drink. Hey, not bad. This is a pretty good vintage. You know Tsunade's going to skin your ass when you get back, said Bunta. Jiraiya shivered at the thought. Still, the kid is something. To be able to hang on like that, perhaps he does have potential to reach his old man's level, maybe even surpass it. After that, he deserves some rest. I'll drop you two outside the nearest village. Jiraiya nodded as he grabbed Naruto and climbed atop Bunta's head. With a few mighty leaps, Bunta arrived outside the nearest village. Jiraiya found an inn and put Naruto to bed. Naruto would most likely be recovering for a few days after everything that happened. Thankfully, there were quite a few hot springs in this town to keep Jiraiya occupied while Naruto rested. Oog, I feel terrible, commented Naruto as he slowly began to wake up. As it stood, his head was pounding, his stomach was burning, and every muscle in his body was sore and stiff. What he was suffering from could be considered a Gamabunta hangover. Oh? You're up? Commented Jiraiya, who had just walked into the bedroom where he left Naruto. Unfortunately for Naruto, Jiraiya was wrapped only in a bath towel and he was certain he heard someone leave the room. Of course, that could have also been the pounding. How do you feel? Like shit, said Naruto. Alongside the pounding, he could hear the snickering of his tenant. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Oh yeah. Although you do have to admit, that was some fine sake, commented Kurama. It really didn't taste that good, commented Naruto. Trust me, that was some pretty good stuff. You're young and it's an acquired taste. Give it a few years and you'll be as addicted to the stuff as that old bag of a Hokage. Yeah, well, I'm never drinking again if this is how I feel in the morning, said Naruto, earning a snicker from Kurama. Speaking of which, you're supposed to be helping me? You said you could stop me from getting drunk, why the hell didn't you? Because it was fun. Don't worry, I'll help you out next time. If I feel you need it, that is, commented Kurama. Damn fox, swore Naruto before snapping back to reality. Jiraiya was still there. Go take a long hot shower, it'll help, he said. There's a restaurant in this inn. Meet me down there when you're ready. So how are you feeling now? Asked Jiraiya. It was now late morning, the day after Naruto's meeting with Gamabunta and Jiraiya getting him drunk as an initiation as a true Toad Summoner. Better, but my body is still sore, said Naruto. Well, that's to be expected from what Bunta put you through. Actually, I'm surprised you were able to even get up today. Minato wasn't able to move for 3 days after Bunta's trial, explained Jiraiya. Tell you what, take it easy today and get rested up. But I've got to get back to training, said Naruto. Trust me, even with the furball, your body needs to rest. Just relax today and you can start working on some of those jutsu tomorrow, said Jiraiya. Besides, I've got something important that I need to get done here pretty soon. Let me guess, another of your perverted smut? Asked Naruto. No. Objected Jiraiya. He then pulled out a larger notebook that he had been writing in. This is more than just a book. In just a few short months, production on the first ever Icha movie will begin. Naruto's sweat dropped. Great, so now he's taking his porn from a book to the big screen. Thought Naruto, and I'm working on the script. I can just picture it now. Movie of pure brilliance, full of drama that will draw crowds from all over the elemental nations, and did I mention it will contain some of the sexiest actresses around? Said Jiraiya with a grin on his face. Damn pervert was all Naruto could think at the moment. So you're going to throw away my training all for some porno? Don't worry, since we'll be in one place for a long period of time while the movie's being filmed, that means you'll have plenty of opportunities to train, said Jiraiya. And not just in jutsus, hee. Naruto sighed and gave in. But if Jiraiya neglected his training during that time, someone was going to get their ass kicked. Still, a day of rest didn't sound too bad, and after the beating Bunda put him through yesterday, his body really wasn't complaining. Okay, fine, I'll take it easy today, maybe look into Fuinjutsu a little more, but you said we'll start on those jutsu tomorrow? Jiraiya nodded. We'll start you with one of those other elements tomorrow and work a bit more on your taijutsu, said Jiraiya. Now, I've got to get back to work, so just relax and take it easy. Naruto sighed as Jiraiya left to go and do whatever work he was up to. A day off after training with the Toads for the past few days wouldn't hurt. If anything, perhaps he would look a little into some Fuinjutsu today. He had been on the road for a little over 3 weeks now and he was already beginning to miss home, and it would still be at least 2 years and many months before he could see his friends or the one he loved again. Still, he knew he had to come on this journey. It was the only way he could get strong enough to protect everyone from what was coming. Okay Naruto, we'll probably be staying in this village for the rest of the week, so that'll give us some time to work on your taijutsu and some ninjutsu. Why don't we start with some taijutsu practice and we can start on those ninjutsu later today, said Jiraiya. Naruto nodded and he began going over the katas of the Uzumaki. Later in the morning, Jiraiya decided to have a little spar with Naruto to see if Naruto was ready to incorporate the Uzumaki into a fight yet. Needless to say, Naruto was hurting after that. He had no idea Jiraiya could be so brutal in spars. Naruto was sure there was a huge bruise on his stomach after Jiraiya landed a hit there, and even though the Kyuubi was able to heal it, that didn't help the pain. Still, if Jiraiya was going to be this hard on him during a spar, then it only served to further drive Naruto to improve. As the afternoon came around, it was time for what Naruto was really looking forward to, those new jutsu. So you have those 2 wind jutsu and 1 of fire and 1 of water. Seeing as you're already good with wind, I think you'll be fine on your own for those 2. I'll help as much as I can, but as I said before, wind isn't really my element. Now fire or water, that's a different story. I guess I'll let you decide the element and then we'll go through the same process that you did with your wind training. We'll work on a few nature manipulation exercises and then I'll teach you those jutsu for each element. Hey Uro-Senin, you only said you're going to teach me 1 jutsu of each element? How come? If I'm going to get stringer at those elements, I need more jutsu than just 1 to work at, argued Naruto. Got him, thought Jiraiya. I suppose you're right. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you do something for me, I'll teach you a few extra jutsu. This was just brilliant. He knew the kid's drive to learn new things, and if things worked out like he planned, he would have a near endless source of inspiration. Okay, so what is it you need? Asked Naruto, oblivious to the perverted look growing on Jiraiya's face. My deal is this. For every change you make to that jutsu, I'll teach you 1 elemental jutsu, said Jiraiya. What? Really? Wow! Hey, wait a minute, said Naruto, taking a minute to think on what that jutsu was. It didn't take him long to figure out his teacher's intentions. What the hell is wrong with you, you pervert? That's my offer, Naruto. For every different variation you show me of your sexy jutsu, I'll teach you 1 elemental jutsu, giggled Jiraiya. Take it or leave it. Besides, think of it as training as well. I want you to learn how to invent your own jutsus someday, and this will help with that. Naruto groaned. Fine, but they had better be cool jutsus and nothing lame. Good, I expect great things out of you. Now, which element do you want to get started on first? I will warn you now though that you probably won't get them as easy as you got wind, said Jiraiya. I guess let's go with fire first. Furball said he would be able to help me out a bit with that one, said Naruto. That's probably the better of the choices. Since fire's weak against water, learning fire after water would have been more difficult since your chakra would tend to neutralize it. However, since your chakra is primarily wind, that will actually help you with fire, I believe, explained Jiraiya. Okay, so what's the first step? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya threw him a stick. He was going to have Naruto do the same exercise that Sasuke had Sakura do when she was learning fire chakra. Channel chakra through your hands and superheat it, igniting the stick. Once you can set fire to that stick, we'll move on to the next step. Also, feel free to use some shadow clones if you want, but not too many as you don't want two memories coming back at once to bite you. For the rest of the afternoon, Jiraiya sat and watched as all 100 Naruto clones began to work on igniting their sticks. Unlike wind, where cutting a leaf could take upwards of 6 months for some, igniting a stick on fire wasn't too difficult. Fire was actually one of the easier elements to learn, but the difficulty came with mastering the element. Jiraiya suspected that Naruto would have the first phase down in a few days, and that was in combination with some taijutsu, Naruto working on those wind jutsus, and the Fuinjutsu training as well. While Naruto would be working on his jutsus, Jiraiya would be working on the script for his movie that Naruto was still complaining about. 3 days passed with the normal routine. Jiraiya looked up from his work and saw a small stream of smoke coming from one of the Narutos, indicating that the blonde was starting to get it. The white-haired man smiled at his student's progress before a small trickle of blood ran down his nose and memories came back to him. With Naruto using shadow clones to train, he had gotten the idea of using shadow clones to provide him with inspiration. They would dispel after a while and provide him with perverted memories while he worked on the script. The other advantage to this was it didn't hurt as bad if he was caught peeping. Ouch. Speaking of hurting, one of the clones finally managed to ignite one of the sticks, causing it to burn itself and dispel. With a cheer from the original, all the Naruto clones dispelled and Naruto cheered as he successfully ignited a stick moments later. Okay Naruto, good job. That's enough for today I think. Let's go grab something to eat and then we can discuss what's next, said Jiraiya. Naruto nodded and the two returned to town for dinner at the restaurant in the first floor of the inn, which also happened to be a bar. Thankfully, Jiraiya couldn't get Naruto drunk here as they didn't serve underage people, even if they were shinobi. Still, to Jiraiya's delight, the bar had a lively crowd later in the nights. Okay Naruto, listen up and watch, said Jiraiya as he pointed over towards the bar. You see that guy over there? Naruto nodded as he saw what looked to be a man in his early 20s approach a woman sitting at the bars. He was pretty sure that he heard a few smug remarks come from the man and a slap afterwards as the woman got up and stormed out. That's what you don't want to do. You've got to charm them and make them feel special. Naruto's sweat dropped. Sadly, Jiraiya was right. He'd never say anything like that to Hinata-chan, or any girl for a matter of fact. So why are we talking about this then? Asked the blonde. Jiraiya took a sip of the sake that he had. Think of it as training. You know, not all training comes in the form of ninjutsu, taijutsu, or fuinjutsu. Sometimes you've got to learn more practical skills, such as the art of charming women. Immediately, Naruto's sweat dropped. What? Shouted Naruto. You heard me. By the time we're done here, you're going to know everything there is for a man to know about women. You may have that sweet little girlfriend of yours, but there's no harm in learning. After all, you want to be able to sweep her off her feet when you get back. Oh, and let's not forget those dance lessons we need to get to, said Jiraiya. Naruto was now regretting this trip. Don't worry, Jiraiya here will show you everything you need to know. About 2 months passed and Naruto had been making excellent progress in his fire manipulation. What really saw the most improvement, however, was Naruto's taijutsu. Just about every morning, Jiraiya would help Naruto out with his taijutsu, which usually meant beating the boy to a bloody pulp in a spar. However, Naruto was beginning to improve and now he was only coming out of the spars with maybe a bruise or two. Hell, Jiraiya even had to be careful now or he would take an occasional hit. Flashback. So you ready for your daily beating? Said Jiraiya as he and Naruto faced each other for their usual daily taijutsu spar. I don't know what you're talking about. Today I'm going to kick your ass, declared Naruto as he slipped into the initial stance of the Uzuken. Jiraiya just smirked as he slipped into his own stance. The match started out as always, with Naruto lashing out a few quick strikes, which Jiraiya easily managed to block. I'll admit, he's gotten much faster, but he's still got a long way to go until he's at the speed required for the Uzuken, thought Jiraiya. By this point in time, they had increased the gravity seals on Naruto to around 1.5x, meaning that the 42 kilograms Naruto was feeling as if he was actually 63 kilograms. Naruto got close and tried to drive a knee up into the Toad Sennin's gut, but was blocked by Jiraiya. Naruto smirked as he drove one hand down while lashing out with a punch using his other hand. Jiraiya leaned back in time to avoid the hit, but Naruto responded with a sweeping kick aimed at Jiraiya's legs as he tried to floor the Sannin. Once again, Jiraiya jumped in time to avoid it. Yeah, his speed still needs work. Had he the speed required to use the Uzuken to its full effect, he would have had me with those 2 shots, thought Jiraiya, smirking. Damn it, swore Naruto. He thought he had Jiraiya there. Now it was Jiraiya's turn to go on the offensive as he pelted Naruto with a barrage of various strikes. Naruto struggled to avoid them before eventually having a foot slammed into his side. He clutched his side in pain. That last kick had hurt, and while he could feel Kurama repairing the damage, that spot was still going to be sore for a bit. Come on, just once. I can hit him just once. Naruto stood to his feet, determined to land a hit on the Sannin before the match was over. Their match picked up, again with Naruto looking for even the slightest of openings in Jiraiya's form. Finally, he saw a small one and turned to take advantage of it. His chance succeeded as he landed a hit on Jiraiya's shoulder, causing the Sannin's left side to open up for a kick. Naruto took advantage and swept his leg across to catch Jiraiya in the side, but to Naruto's dismay Jiraiya caught the leg, pinning it between his side and his arm before sending the boy flying. End flashback. That had been the first time Naruto had managed to land a hit on Jiraiya. While it wasn't that powerful yet, it was a start, and every now and then Naruto would score a hit on Jiraiya in their spars. They had also bumped up the gravity seals to 1.7x, making the blonde feel as if he were 71 kilograms. Another thing that also caught Jiraiya's eye was that Naruto was beginning to experience some sort of growth spurt. In the past 2 months, the blonde had grown 4 centimeters from 147 centimeters, putting him at about 151 centimeters. Jiraiya had worked on getting Naruto to eat foods besides ramen, although he would give in and let the blonde splurge every now and then. Over the past 2 months, Naruto's physical stature wasn't the only thing that began showing improvements. The blonde had mastered the 2 wind jutsus that he had brought along with him. Flashback. Hey Uro-senin. I've got it, wanna see? Nagged Naruto, tugging on Jiraiya's sleeve. What did you do now? Asked Jiraiya. I got that wind jutsu, futon, swallow strike, said Naruto. Oh? You did? Well, let's see, said Jiraiya. Naruto smirked and turned towards a tree before making the necessary hand seals and exclaiming futon, swallow strike. Naruto then held out a straight palm with wind chakra gathered around it and slashed through the air with it, expelling the blast of chakra towards an unfortunate tree. The chakra then took the form of a large swallow as it sped towards the tree, slicing through the trunk before dissipating. Naruto looked on, impressed at his work as the tree fell to the ground with a clean cut. Hey, not bad, said Jiraiya. Pretty soon you'll be on your way to making your own wind jutsus. Actually, I've got an idea on how to improve that one. I just need to figure out how to do it, said Naruto. Well, I'm sure you will. Your dad was excellent at inventing and figuring out jutsus. I'm sure you'll find a way how to, said Jiraiya, impressed that the blonde was already looking at ways to improve it. This is what he wanted Naruto to do, think outside the box and make his own jutsus. End flashback. Along with the wind jutsus, Naruto had gotten the fire jutsu he brought. After getting that, Jiraiya insisted that Naruto continue to train in fire manipulation for a few more months before they began learning the last of the 3 elements that would be easiest for Naruto to learn, water. This of course worked to Jiraiya's advantage, as Naruto was not content with only knowing 1 fire jutsu while training with fire manipulation, so what did he do? He gave in and took Jiraiya up on his offer. Flashback. Naruto had finished making a kunai red hot with fire chakra, something he had been working on all day. He could make his tri-pronged knives glow without too much of an issue, but these normal kunai took forever. That's it, I've had it. Hey Uro-senin, you got any cool fire jutsus to teach me? Asked Naruto, growing increasingly bored with just training fire chakra manipulation. I don't know. That depends, do you have something for me? Asked Jiraiya with a perverted look on his face. It's about time. I was beginning to worry that this kid was actually beginning to develop a sense of patience. Naruto sighed. So the old pervert really was going to only give him jutsu for new versions of the sexy jutsu. He didn't want to, but it was the only way to get a new jutsu and save himself from the boredom of trying to simply set a kunai on fire. Fine. Shadow clone jutsu, exclaimed Naruto as he made a single shadow clone. Jiraiya looked on, notebook at the ready, as the 2 clones then performed a transformation. When the smoke cleared, 2 naked girls were standing, or laying, where the Narutos were. They were lying on top of one another in a seductive pose with their breasts pushed up against one another. Sexy jutsu, girl on girl version. Jiraiya looked on, much to the delight of his perverted eyes. Oh yeah, before he could get closer, Naruto transformed back into Naruto, ending the jutsu and causing Jiraiya to grumble a bit. There, now about that jutsu? Asked Naruto. Fine, I guess a deal's a deal, said Jiraiya, giving Naruto a scroll. Naruto popped the scroll open and it read Kaden, Flame Bullet. It was a C-rank fire jutsu that required using chakra to build up oil in the stomach and then mixing it with fire chakra. You can either learn to build up oil yourself, or you can use a toad to provide you with the oil, said Jiraiya. I believe you and Sasuke used something like that against the Shukaku once with Bunta. Wow. Really? This is going to be awesome then, exclaimed Naruto. End flashback. Currently, Naruto was still trying to learn how to generate oil in his stomach for the jutsu, but he did it once before, using a toad to provide the oil, and the results were pretty good. Along with that, Naruto's Fuin Jutsu was coming along good. He had finished up that entirety of the sealing scrolls that Jiraiya had given him at the beginning of the trip and was now back to learning the Uzumaki sealing techniques. Naruto had also managed to finish up the absorption seals for the remainder of his knives, giving him an absorption seal for all 5 elements. So long as he could react quick enough, he had a way to counter most elemental jutsu. He had also made a rather complex sealing matrix on a pair of bracers, allowing him to seal all 5 absorption kunai along with his tri-pronged, shuriken, and normal kunai. It took him some getting used to at first, but he was able to get used to the new seal fairly quick. Currently, the two were traveling through the land of forests, on their way to the shooting site of Jiraiya's Icha Icha movie. While everything had been arranged for the movie to proceed without him, Jiraiya still wanted to be there for varying purposes. After having been on the road for nearly a week, the duo finally arrived at the site of shooting for the movie, where they would be spending the next couple of months. "Where is he?" shouted Makino, a well-known movie director. "Who are you talking about, sir?" asked one of the stagehands. "Who else? The author of the books this brilliant movie is based off of," exclaimed the director. "We can't start this movie without him." All around the set, the entire film crew was waiting patiently for the author of the movie they were about to shoot in order to show up. "Hey, can't we get to shooting this without him?" asked one of the cast. "Yeah, I came here to make a movie, not wait for some writer that doesn't know the importance of punctuality. I'm already in the zone, and if we wait any longer, I don't think it'll hold," exclaimed another actress. Suddenly, an explosion went off in the middle of the set, and when the smoke cleared, there was a white-haired man standing on top of a large orange toad. "What's going on? Who are you?" asked one of the stunned cast members. "Thanks for asking. Mount Miyaboku's one and only Toad Sennin. Women throw themselves at my feet, dying to bask in the manliness that is the one and only Jiraiya," exclaimed Jiraiya, making one of his signature poses on top of the toad. Leaning against the back of the toad, a certain blonde face planted anime style. "What? You can't just barge in here like that." "Security," shouted one of the actors. A few guards approached the man on the toad. "Cut," shouted the director before the guards could get their asses handed to them by one of the legendary Sannin. "The man of the hour has finally arrived." "What? Who the hell is this guy?" asked the confused actor. "This is the Jiraiya, the man who writes the Icha Icha novels and the one who is paying all of us," said the director. The actor cringed a little upon hearing this. Please forgive me," Jiraiya-sama begged the actor, not wanting to lose out on the gratuitous paycheck he was receiving for this movie. "Hey, so Makino, is everything ready to go?" asked Jiraiya. "Everything's all set to go," exclaimed the director. "Everyone, take your places. We've got a movie to shoot. Give me lights. Give me drama. And get that toad out of here." Croak. Naruto and Jiraiya were sitting along the side of the set, observing the first scene of the movie. Thankfully for Naruto, there were no adult parts in the opening scene. However, his attention was drawn to one actress in particular. Said actress was a woman most likely in her early 20s with long black hair and light purple-blue eyes. I'm almost certain I've seen her somewhere before," thought Naruto. "Huh? What's up, Naruto?" asked Jiraiya, seeing his student's distraction. "It's nothing. Just her," said Naruto as he trailed off. "I swear I've seen her before." At this time a gray-haired man walked up behind Jiraiya and Naruto. "Are you familiar with the Princess Gale movies, young man?" "Huh? Who are you, old man?" asked Naruto. The man just chuckled a little. "My name's Osamu Sandayu and I am the manager of Fujikaze Yuki, the woman you are curious about," said Sandayu. "Now I believe it's your turn to answer my question. Are you familiar with the Princess Gale movies?" "Princess Gale? Yeah, those movies are awesome. I actually saw the most recent one with my girlfriend before leaving on a trip with Uro Sennin here," said Naruto, pointing to Jiraiya. "Speaking of which, I miss Hinata-chan," Naruto cried on the inside. "Will you stop calling me that?" objected Jiraiya. "Then you'll be pleased to know that Yuki is the actress who plays Princess Gale in those movies," said Sandayu. Naruto's eyes immediately lit up. "She's Princess Gale?" asked Naruto. Sandayu nodded. "Wow, I'm definitely gonna need to get her autograph." "Wait a second," said Naruto, contemplating for a moment. "If she's such a great actress, then what's she doing in Uro Sennin's perverted movie?" "My movie's more than just that, you little brat," retorted Jiraiya. "It's going to be the dramatic masterpiece of the century. Who wouldn't want to be a part of it? And Yuki's playing the part of Ai, the main heroine of the book." "Huh? Who?" Naruto asked, tilting his head. "And cut," shouted the director. "Prepare the set for the beach scene. And get the kid out of here." "Okay, brat, you heard the director. This is an adult scene and that means you can't be here. Why don't you go train a bit? There are a few fields just outside the set, said Jiraiya, shoving Naruto off the set. In all honesty, this wasn't helping Jiraiya's statement that this movie was more than just some perverted porno. Then Jiraiya smiled at the blonde. Here, if you want to know what's going on, just read this. Jiraiya pushed a copy of Icha Paradise into Naruto's hand and closed the door to the set before Naruto could even react. What the hell, you pervert? Shouted Naruto from outside the set. He slipped the book into his back pouch, his perverted side, the same one that had invented the sexy jutsu, taking control for just that moment. For the rest of the day, Naruto found a field outside the set area where he began to go over the Uzukan katas, followed by working on the fire jutsu he was currently working on and some more wind chakra refinement exercises along with the jutsus he had. Kazaana-sama, one of our informants has come across something that might be of interest to you, spoke a Yuki ninja inside an audience chamber inside the fortress of Dodo. Kazaana, the current ruler of the land of snow. The ninja handed Dodo a picture, and after taking a quick look at the picture, Dodo's eyes shot wide open. Where did you get this? He demanded, grabbing the poor ninja by the collar of his jacket. Kazaana-sama, please, I only got the picture from one of our foreign operatives, pleaded the Yuki ninja. Dodo slowly released his grip. Where was this woman in the picture last spotted? Asked Dodo. At a movie set in the Land of Lakes. Apparently she'll be there for a few more months for the shooting of the Icha Paradise movie, said the ninja. Good. Go gather a team of men and meet me tomorrow morning for a mission briefing, said Dodo. Sir, if I may, what is it exactly you want with Fujikaze Yuki? Asked the informant. She's not who she appears to be. That name is only a guise, said Dodo. Really? The who is she? Asked the nin. My niece. Growled Dodo. And the only thing standing between me and what is rightfully mine. I see. I shall assemble a team and have them ready for you by morning, sir. Yo, Naruto. Huh? Uro-senin? Naruto was currently working on a fire jutsu when Jiraiya came up to the training ground. How goes that jutsu? Asked Jiraiya. I think I almost have the oil generation down. It feels kind of weird though, commented Naruto. Jiraiya just chuckled a little at this. Yeah, I remember that feeling when I first learned the jutsu, but you'll get used to it. Trust me, mixing oil into the jutsu really does help with the potency of the jutsu. Why don't you take a break from that and we'll spar? Besides, I may be making a movie, but I still need to ensure you get your daily dose of ass kicking. EFT. Not today, you old pervert, declared Naruto as he took a position opposite Jiraiya on the field for their spar. Their match began and ended as they normally do, with Jiraiya standing over a beaten and battered Naruto. Damn it. I almost had you there. Sure you did, said Jiraiya sarcastically. Naruto shot him a look. I'm just kidding. You're getting better, I'll give you that, but it's going to take more than a few months for your taijutsu to reach my level. Anyways, I think it's about time we increase your weights. 2.0x should be good for now. With that, Jiraiya channeled some chakra into Naruto's gravity seals, increasing the effective gravity to 2.0x on Naruto. Naruto stumbled slightly at the increase in gravity, but was able to adjust himself. Good, now get used to those for a bit. Hey Uro-senin, exactly how long are we gonna be here? Asked Naruto. Probably about 6 to 7 months, said Jiraiya. That long? Complained Naruto. Hey, look at it this way. That's 6 to 7 months we won't have to worry about moving, and 6 months you can stay here and train, said Jiraiya. I'll tell you what, you keep working on your fire jutsu, wind manipulation, taijutsu, and fuin jutsu for the next week, and I'll start you off in water jutsus after that. How does that sound? Huh? Really? Exclaimed Naruto. He was excited about starting on another element, even though he hadn't mastered the fire element as far as he had wanted. His wind element was pretty refined by this point, but there was always ways to refine it more. The week passed with Naruto making good work on his training. He had finally gotten down the Kaden flame bullet, although the generation of oil within his stomach still felt a bit weird. His fuin jutsu had made progress with Naruto finishing up the scroll on Uzumaki barrier seals. He couldn't wait to show Iruka-sensei when he got back, and he had moved on to chakra amplification seals. If they were done right, they could double or even triple the power of a jutsu. When it came to wind refinement exercises, there wasn't too much more that Jiraiya could do in that case, as he wasn't a wind user himself. As his past wind manipulation exercises required him to cut stuff, such as leaves and waterfalls, Naruto continued to cut stuff. However, he was cutting rocks and harder materials using his wind chakra, and he wasn't just trying to cut them in half. He was working on making fine and precise cuts with the wind chakra to the point where it seemed like he was trying to use his wind chakra to try and sculpt the rocks or engrave writing in them using his wind chakra. Jiraiya caught wind of this and smiled a bit. The kid was truly beginning to learn on his own. Speaking of Jiraiya, his week was also going rather well with the movie. The scenes that were shot so far were flawless, and if things kept up as they were going, the movie might be done a good month ahead of schedule. Not to mention the adult scenes in the movie provided him with a good source of inspiration, allowing him to begin working on the next volume of the Icha Icha books. It was now time for Naruto to begin training in water manipulation. Seeing as the movie was being shot in the land of lakes, this provided Naruto with plenty of locations to train his water manipulation. Okay Naruto, here's what you need to do, said Jiraiya as he placed his hand on the surface of a lake and then lifted it, pulling a large bubble of water up, about the size of Naruto's head. The first step is to use water chakra to gather and hold a large bubble like this in your hands. Once you can do this, come and get me and we'll move on to the next step. You're going to need to get past the second step before you can start learning most water jutsus. Naruto nodded and immediately got to work on water manipulation, making a few clones to help him out there while making a few more to work on fire and wind. About another month and a half at the site of the movie passed. It had about a week since Naruto completed the second of the water manipulation exercises, which involved him standing in the lake and trying to generate waves by pumping his chakra into the water. In all honesty, creating waves to the level that Uro Sennin had wanted was harder than it initially sounded. For what seemed like the first week, all Naruto heard was the laughter of one particular fox while he struggled to make more than a ripple in the water. Suiten, water gun, shouted Naruto as he took another attempt at the water jutsu he had on hand. Focusing his chakra, he forced a large stream of water out of his mouth and towards a tree, peeling the bark of the poor tree right off. Finally, well, at least it's not a trickle of water like the last 100 times, joked Kurama. Oh, it was only 98 times. Learn to count, retorted Naruto. 98, 100, what's the difference? It still took you forever to get the water manipulation down, replied Kurama. Hey, it's not my fault, water was much harder to get than fire or wind, replied Naruto. Actually, it's your fault. Why couldn't you have a water affinity as well? Sure, blame all your ninja related problems on the fox. At least I'm not the one who gets their ass handed to them on a daily basis by some pervert, replied Kurama sarcastically. That reminds me, where is Uro Sennin? It's time for his daily dose of ass kicking, said Naruto. I actually landed more than one hit on him yesterday. It's time to pay him back for these past months. Kurama just sighed at Naruto's usual antics. Yo, and there he is, thought Naruto. Uro Sennin, stop calling me that, brat, retorted Jiraiya. I'll stop calling you that when you stop being a pervert, replied Naruto. Hey, I'll have you know I'm not a pervert, defended Jiraiya, receiving a questioning look from Naruto. I thought we'd been over this. I'm a super pervert. Naruto and Kurama just sweat dropped at this. So how's the jutsu going? Great. I've got it, exclaimed Naruto, doing the jutsu again to show Jiraiya. Jiraiya just smiled and nodded. Good. Now that you have completed the jutsu training I'll be giving you, I want something from you. Great, he just wants another perverted version of my sexy jutsu, thought Naruto, earning a few nods from Kurama. I don't have a new version of my sexy jutsu, so don't bother asking. Aw, come on, pleaded Jiraiya, letting out a slight chuckle. I'm just joking. There's plenty of inspiration for me on that movie set right now. However, I do in fact want a jutsu from you. Huh? What kind of jutsu? Asked Naruto. Hey, that's really up to you, said Jiraiya. The only condition is you have to be the one to invent it. Naruto looked at Jiraiya wide-eyed. That's right, I want you to make your very own jutsu. But, here is what's going to happen. Until you show me that jutsu, I won't be helping you at all with the exception of our daily taijutsu spars. You can ask me one question a week and the jutsu can't be something like an improved version of your sexy jutsu, although I'm always open to seeing that. Right. I'll have that jutsu for you by the end of the week. T-by-o, declared Naruto. 1 week later. Gah. I still don't know where to even begin, said Naruto, pulling at his hair. Yo Naruto, how's that jutsu coming? Asked Jiraiya before leaving the trailer that the two were currently staying in. It's coming along great. I've almost got it, said Naruto. Yeah right, I don't even know where to begin. For the rest of the day, Naruto was either sitting around the movie set all day or at the training ground trying to think of something. It wasn't until late that Naruto returned to the trailer to see Jiraiya finishing up dinner. Well, if it isn't Naruto. How's that jutsu coming? Asked Jiraiya, getting straight to the point, like he had been for the past week. Great, chuckled Naruto sarcastically, before dropping his head. You said I could ask a question, right? Jiraiya nodded. I see, not going as well as you'd hoped? I can't figure where to begin. How do I start developing a jutsu? How did my dad do it? You said he was an expert at creating jutsus, yet this just seems so difficult, said Naruto, finally letting his frustrations out. I figured you'd come to this. And you're right, jutsu inventing is not an easy game, said Jiraiya. Take the Rasengan for example. It took your dad 3 years to invent it. 3 years is a long time in the ninja world. I'm not asking for you to make something as powerful or complex as the Rasengan, at least not yet. However, every jutsu starts at the same place, whether it be the Rasengan or the sexy jutsu. All jutsus require some sort of inspiration that leads to their birth. Let me ask you this, how did you make the sexy jutsu? Well, I never really thought about it. I guess if anything, it was originally to prank perverts, said Naruto. Okay, well I guess you have the application of the jutsu, but there was something that came before it. You said you wanted to prank perverts. You could have done that a number of ways, yet you came up with that, continued Jiraiya. Well, I guess there was this one time when I was running away from a man, who I had just dumped a bucket of steak juice on for beat me up the other day and ran him through the Inuzuka compound while he was chasing me. Needless to say, he had an entire pack of Inuzuka hounds chasing his ass around the village and I was watching from a good viewpoint. It was then that he took a wrong turn and somehow stumbled into the woman's bathing area. I saw everything, how the man's mind just blanked to the immediate gusher of blood coming out his nose and the following beating. After that, I knew that I would be able to prank a lot of men that way, explained Naruto. Jiraiya laughed at this. He had also witnessed the whole event as he was back in Konoha at that time reporting into the Sandaime. He actually couldn't believe just how lucky he was to witness the conception of Naruto's wonderful jutsu from Kami. So I guess you could say that event inspired you to create your sexy jutsu. Immediately, Kurama's cage became a lot brighter as a light bulb went off in Naruto's head. I see, so I need some sort of inspiration to begin making a jutsu, and I guess just about anything can provide that inspiration. It's just something that happens, I guess. Jiraiya smiled and nodded his head. You've pretty much got it. Just about anything can provide inspiration, you've just got to keep an open mind. Hey Uro-Sennin, what inspired the Yondaime to create the Rasengan? Asked Naruto. That's 2 questions, but I'll give that one to you, said Jiraiya. It was that ability you used when in 4-tailed Kyuubi mode, the tailed beast ball I think is what it's called. Naruto's eyes lit up upon hearing that. He had never imagined the Rasengan to have been developed from the tailed beast ball. Interesting development there, Yondaime, thought Kurama, but now that I think of it, I think I understand where you're coming from. I'll have to admit, I'm actually slightly impressed for once. Well, I've got to get off to bed. Tomorrow's a big day of filming. It's the part where Sota comes to Ai's rescue and then some pretty juicy scenes follow afterwards, if you know what I mean, said Jiraiya. Naruto was trying to hide it, but Jiraiya saw the blonde fighting off the images that were popping in his mind and the bright red blush creeping its way onto Naruto's face. Someone's been reading. Oh my young apprentice, there's no escaping it. Welcome to the dark side of the perv. Naruto immediately left the trailer, trying to get the perverted thoughts out of his head. It honestly didn't help that Kurama was reciting lines from the book as Naruto was trying to forget them. As Naruto was walking through the outskirts of the set, near the areas where he would normally train, the blonde stumbled upon a fox stalking a raccoon. With a sudden pounce, the fox lashed out at the raccoon with its claws, knocking the raccoon to its side and leaving a rather large gash. Before the raccoon could even react, the fox was already on top of it, biting into the neck, killing the raccoon and earning the fox a nighttime meal. Hell yeah, take that, you flea-bitten raccoon. Another one for us foxes. Cheered Kurama in victory for one of his brethren. Naruto, in the meantime, was having other thoughts about the encounter, in particular the way that fox pounced and slashed at the raccoon. Futon, Fox Gale. Naruto swiped downward with his hand in a slashing motion, creating a gust of wind that took the form of a fox as it rushed towards an unsuspecting rock and with a slash of its claw, carves a few large gashes into said rock. Kind of like the fox pouncing the raccoon from the other night. Why, I'm flattered, Kit, said Kurama in a slightly sarcastic tone. It's about time he came up with some fox-based jutsus. Naruto just ignored the Kyuubi and turned to Jiraiya with a pleading look. Alright, I'll rank that as high C, maybe low B rank for now. I honestly think you can improve on it a bit, but you did what I asked you to do and I'm proud of you, said Jiraiya. Take the rest of the day off and relax, or why don't you come and check out the movie? Naruto shrugged and figured he might as well. There really wasn't anything else to do on movie set for him besides either train or watch the movie. Shouta, I can't believe you came, said I in disbelief. It was a clear night and the stars shone brightly upon the 2 lovers standing on the balcony of the highest tower of the towering castle. No matter what the cost, I'd do anything for the one my heart belongs to, replied Shouta. He took both of his lover's soft, silky hands and looked deep into her gentle. I could only help but to tear up at this, throwing herself into the embrace of the man who had risked his life and everything else to save her from the clutches of her dastardly uncle, Hotaka. As I continues to cry, Shouta began stroking her hair in a comforting manner. There, my love. Everything is going to be alright. I'm here and I'll do anything to ensure no more harm befalls you. I nudged her head into the crevice between Shouta's head and shoulders, but as luck had it, Shouta pushed the body of his lover slightly away from him, ending the comforting embrace. However, before I could protest, Shouta planted a passionate kiss on her lips. From the side of the movie set, Jiraiya had tears as he watched his masterpiece unfold. He looked down beside him, at the blonde he had dragged onto the movie set with him today, only to see that Naruto was beginning to cry as well. It was at this point that Naruto left the set with Jiraiya following close behind to see what the problem with his student was. "Naruto?" called out Jiraiya, trying to locate his student. For about an hour, Jiraiya wandered around the lot, looking for the blonde, coming to a stop at the lake on the outskirts of the set. Sitting on top of a tree branch was Naruto. Jiraiya could obviously tell that the blonde had been crying. He knew the movie was emotional, but at the same time, he could tell there was something else going on. "Yo, Naruto," called out Jiraiya. Naruto lifted his head and looked down to see Uro-Sennin jumping up onto the branch that he was on. "Is everything alright? You left just before the best part, the hot and sexy love-making." Jiraiya saw that Naruto was unaffected by that last comment, proving even more that there was something going on in Naruto's head. "Everything's fine, Uro-Sennin," Jiraiya sighed. "Well, it certainly doesn't look that way. Come on, just tell me. Does it have anything to do with that little girlfriend of yours?" Naruto immediately blushed, but his saddened expression quickly found its way back on his face. "Just talk about it. Trust me, it'll help," said Jiraiya. "What is there to say? I miss her," said Naruto as he began to let it all out. "I miss Hinata-chan. She was one of the first people to ever show me some form of compassion, and she was the first person to actually say that she loved me. I don't really know, I've never told her, but I think I do love her back. It's just, I've only been gone for maybe 7 months, but I've still got 2 years before I can see her again. I guess if anything, I wish that she could have come along." Jiraiya smiled and placed a comforting hand on his godson's shoulder. "I know it's hard. Been away for so long from the woman you love, and I understand what you're feeling." The thought of a certain blonde-haired, large-breasted woman popped into Jiraiya's head. "But you understand why we had to go on this trip." "I do, but, what if I'm not strong enough to protect her when I get back?" asked Naruto. "What if I'm not strong enough to protect her or all my friends when we return home? Will that mean these 3 years would have been for naught? Does that mean I just wasted 3 years where I could have been spending time with her?" "I see, so the shooting really did get to him. Or rather, it got to all the emotions he had been bottling up for the past few months," thought Jiraiya. "Naruto, don't worry, I'll make sure you're strong enough to handle whatever the world throws at you when we get back, but I can't do it alone. I need you." Naruto looked up at his teacher's words. "I need you to believe that you can get strong. If you keep thinking like this, keep doubting yourself, then these 3 years really will have been a waste," said Jiraiya. He could see the fire and the drive returning to Naruto's eyes. "I understand. I won't let anyone down. Not you, not my friends, and especially not Hinata-chan, Tbio," declared Naruto. "Good. And I don't worry about her. I'm sure she's just as driven as you are to become stronger, and if I know her, she'll be at the gates waiting for you the day you come home," said Jiraiya. "So, you up for a late night spar?" Naruto grinned at this. He was going to kick the old pervert's ass this time around. Naruto and Jiraiya took their positions opposite each other on the field, and Naruto made the first move. He punched straight towards Jiraiya, but the Toad Sennin blocked with ease. However, that was what Naruto was hoping, as he used the momentum of the punch to spin himself and Jiraiya around, lashing out with a spiraling kick. Jiraiya barely had time to react, completing the spin he was forced into and blocking the kick with his free arm. The two disengaged before any more blows could be thrown. "There's the brat I know," responded Jiraiya. "I'll admit, you're improving, but you're still not quite at my level." "Oh yeah? Then how about we get rid of these damned weights that you put on me," said Naruto as he began to remove the gravity seals. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow at this. It was the first time that Naruto had taken his seals off during a spar. Perhaps things would get a bit more interesting now. "Wow. I feel so light. So this is what bushy brows feels like when he takes his weights off," exclaimed Naruto. By this point in time, the seals had been increased to 2.8x, and he was really beginning to feel the difference. With that, Naruto was off, at a speed that surprised both Jiraiya and himself. "Damn. I've only moved this fast when using the Kyuubi's chakra," thought Naruto. Before Jiraiya knew it, he was on the defensive, doing everything he could to keep up with Naruto's increased speed. Naruto instantly lashed out with a low sweeping kick, hoping to knock Jiraiya's feet out from underneath him, but Jiraiya managed to jump just in time to avoid it. However, this was what Naruto was planning. Pushing off from the ground, Naruto landed a quick punch into the stomach of Jiraiya, causing the Sanin's eyes to widen at the feeling of having a fist slammed into his gut. Naruto grinned, but that grin was wiped off his face when Jiraiya disappeared, only to be replaced by a log. Naruto stopped to look around to see where Jiraiya had gone to. Not bad at all, kid, said Jiraiya, clapping as he walked out from the forest. I'll admit you finally got me there. Naruto looked up and began grinning at his accomplishment. Really? Jiraiya nodded. Yeah, that matches yours. This was a taijutsu only spar and you made me use a replacement jutsu to avoid injury. After all, I've got a movie to make and I can't afford to be lying in bed all day. I would say your speed is probably at the point where you can start learning some of the more advanced forms of the Uzuken. However, don't let this go to your head. There's still a lot of room for improvement, although I will admit you've come a long way. Naruto couldn't believe he had waited this long. He had been on the movie set for just over 5 months now and he still had yet to get an autograph of the one and only Princess Gale. However, tonight would fix that. He was on a mission tonight to get the autograph of one Fujikaze Yuki. All afternoon, he had been hanging around the set, waiting for the day of filming to finish up and to approach Yuki to ask for an autograph. Unfortunately, the first attempt at an autograph was shot down immediately when she just flat out refused. Being Naruto, he pushed her a little further, only to have the Princess Gale poster ripped in half by her before she ran away from the blonde. What the hell is this lady's problem? All I want is a stinkin' autograph that I can give Hinata-chan when I get back, thought Naruto. He was going to get that autograph even if that meant tying her up and forcing her to give him one. Naruto had tracked the actress to a village about a mile away from the site of the movie set. This village was where a lot of the crew would go in the evening for a drink and where Naruto would usually go for ramen. It really helped that this village had a ramen stand that was in his ramen passport. Being the land of lakes, there were a lot of larger freshwater lakes, and within those lakes lived a unique species of fish that local fishermen said was incredibly difficult to catch, yet it made for an excellent ingredient in a bowl of ramen. The biwa trout ramen was probably the best fish-based ramen that Naruto had ever had. Refocusing his mind back to the current mission at hand, Naruto went to the first bar in the city that he knew was popular amongst the actors. Unfortunately, he had no luck when it turned out that there was no Yuki in that bar. It wasn't for another 4 to 5 bars that Naruto noticed a figure leaving a bar that was next on his list. The figure was wearing a long coat with a hood pulled over their head. However, Naruto caught a tuft of black hair coming out of the coat. After a few moments of Naruto looking at her, she took off away from the blonde and he was in pursuit of his target. A frantic Yuki made a few turns through the alley, trying to shake the Konoha ninja. She finally came to a stop, thinking that she had lost him. However, a slight movement in the shadows caught her attention and she reached in her pocket, pulling out a canister of pepper spray. Before she could respond, she saw that she was surrounded by about a dozen masked ninja, wearing the headband of Yukigakure. Well, Kaza-ana koi Yuki. Never thought we'd find you all the way out here, said one of the ninja. Yuki's eyes widened upon hearing the ninja mutter that name. Instantly, images flashed through her head of a burning castle and her fleeing on the back of a sled as she could hear the maniacal laughter of her uncle in the background. The same uncle who had just murdered his brother, her father. Yuki sunk to her knees. Somehow, they had found her. Her uncle, Kaza-ana Dodo, had found her. What appeared to be the leader of the Yuki ninja group stepped forward. Come with us quietly. Dodo-sama wishes to speak to his niece for the first time in nearly 15 years. Yuki just sat there, frozen at the memories going through her head, as the Yuki ninja reached out to grab her, only to have a kunai embed itself in his hand. Who the hell do you think you guys are, picking on an innocent lady like that? Called out Naruto, standing on top of a building in the alleyway. And what would a little brat like you know? Just go home to mommy, kid. This doesn't concern you, scoffed one of the Yuki ninja. Were you the one who threw this? Asked the leader in a demanding tone, pulling the kunai out of his bleeding hand. Perhaps I was. Maybe I'll answer your question if you answer mine, replied Naruto. That's it, brat, you're dead, shouted the leader as he threw a few shuriken at Naruto. The shuriken contacted with Naruto's head and Yuki's eyes grew wide as the blonde was killed in front of her eyes. Sure, he had been a major annoyance today, but she didn't want him dead. The Yuki ninja's grin was wiped off his face when Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke, showing that he was just a shadow clone. He heard a few screams and shouts from the shadows as some of his cronies were thrown to the ground, beaten and battered, falling victim to some of Naruto's shadow clones. Sir, what do we do? Asked one of the still standing Yuki ninja. Kill that brat, declared the ninja. Naruto just sighed as the 4 to 5 remaining ninja charged him and he deactivated his gravity seals. At a speed that shocked the oncoming attackers, Naruto disappeared and reappeared with his fist buried in the stomach of one of the attackers. Another ninja tried to lash out at Naruto with a kunai in hand, only for Naruto to parry the attack, twisting the Yuki ninja around and kicking his opponent in the back, sending the ninja crashing into a dumpster. The remaining 2 ninja backed away before activating a smoke bomb and disappearing, taking their comrades with them. Despite being a kid, they realized that they were no match for this kid. Naruto let out a held breath as he went to check on Yuki. At this time, both Jiraiya and Sandayu had arrived on scene. What happened here, Naruto? Asked Jiraiya as Sandayu went to check on Yuki. Ninja said Naruto as one of his clones came forth, holding a headband that they had gotten off one of the attackers. Yukigakure said Jiraiya, examining the headband. Turning to Sandayu and Yuki, he asked what were they after you for? Probably nothing more than trying to take advantage of a high-profile actress. You know how these things work, said Sandayu, trying to shrug it off as nothing more than a simple kidnap and ransom attempt. However, Jiraiya could easily tell that the man was trying to hide something. I hope this doesn't affect your role in the movie. Besides, at the rate things are going, we should be done in a few weeks. Oh, most certainly not, but if you don't mind, I would like to add some more security to the current staff, said Sandayu. Jiraiya just nodded as Sandayu took Yuki away. So anything? Asked Jiraiya to Naruto. I don't really know. I just got here in time to stop them from grabbing her and running, but it feels like they're trying to hide something, said Naruto. Really? What makes you think that? Replied Jiraiya sarcastically. Well, a few C rank turned BA rank missions does that to you, said Naruto, grinning a little and thinking back to the Wave, Shibi Escort, and Land of Greens missions. Besides, I'm sensing something weird about them. I can tell you for sure he was lying. That's right, you do have a sensing ability from Furball, don't you? Asked Jiraiya. Naruto nodded. Okay. So I wouldn't put it past those ninja to try and attack her again. Honestly, a few extra guards and thugs won't do anything against trained ninja. While I want to know what's up with them and why they have ninja targeting them, I don't want it to be blatantly obvious that she is ninja guarding her. Don't make any sudden action, but I want you to keep an eye on her using a few clones. Perhaps we can figure something out. In the meantime, I'll have my spy network look into the issue. Consider this stealth and observational training. Naruto nodded before he and Jiraiya returned back to the movie lot, but not before grabbing a bowl of ramen. You what? Screamed Dodo, slamming his fist down on the arm of his throne. How could 12 of you fail to kidnap one simple actress? We would have had her, but it appears as if she has N ninja guarding her, stuttered one of the 12 Yuki ninja. He was obviously afraid of the man sitting in front of them. Ninja? Asked Dodo, raising an eyebrow. There were no reports from his informants about a ninja detail being hired as bodyguards. Who were these ninja? There were so many of them, said one of the Yuki ninja, not explaining that it was actually just one ninja with a lot of clones. He especially left out the part that the ninja that beat him was a 13-year-old kid. I'm certain they were from Konoha. Konoha? This should be interesting, said ninja with light purple hair who was standing next to Dodo. This ninja was Roga Nadair, Dodo's right-hand man. The last time I saw a Konoha ninja it was back during the coup. Hatake Kakashi, so it appears Konoha is meddling with our affairs again. Nadair, Fubiki, Mizore, go do what these 12 couldn't and bring me back the princess and the hex crystal, said Dodo, turning to his 3 personal guards before turning to the squad of 12 ninja he sent out earlier. I'll deal with you 12 later. Nadair, Fubiki, and Mizore bowed before going to fulfill their master's wish. Well, I'll admit this water manipulation is getting easier, said Naruto as was working on some of the more advanced water manipulation exercises Jiraiya had given him. It was at around that time that he heard a growl from his stomach, indicating that now would be a good time for a lunch break. However, before he could leave to get lunch, a rather large ball of water came rolling out of the bushes. Naruto looked curiously at it, but his instincts kicked in immediately and he took cover behind a tree as the ball of water exploded, sending water shrapnel all over the place that was powerful enough to even rip some thick branches off of trees. What the hell? Is this another one of Uro-Sennin's trick? Thought Naruto. He concentrated for a moment, trying to sense for a presence, and it didn't take too long before he was able to find someone. Definitely not Uro-Sennin. Whoever it is, they've got another thing coming. Naruto aimed a few kunai in the direction of the enemy he sensed and let them fly. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. The kunai multiplied immediately into about 100 copies and flew towards the enemy. After he heard the sound of kunai making an impact, he came out from the cover of his tree and carefully made his way towards where his attacker was supposedly. The blonde reacted just in time to dodge a rather large, metallic fist aimed for his head as a large purple-haired man, wearing some sort of weird armor and a Yukigakure helmet, exploded towards him through the foliage. The brute swung at him again and Naruto jumped back to put some distance between the two. However, he wasn't expecting the fist of the large man to shoot outwards towards him and nail him in the stomach. The force behind this attack sent Naruto crashing back into the bushes surrounding the area. Hey, I should have known, a little punk like you wouldn't have been able to beat those other Yuki ninja that came earlier, commented the giant. His eyes widened a little when he saw the forest in front of him burst into flames and a rather large fireball come shooting towards him. That surprise was quickly replaced by a grin as the armor that the brute was wearing began to glow, and the moment the fireball made contact, it was quickly diminished until it was nothing more than a small spark. What? exclaimed Naruto out of surprise. What the hell was that? I was sure I hit him with that jutsu. Hey, wouldn't you like to know? Replied the large Yuki ninja. Naruto gritted his teeth as he deactivated the gravity seals on him, allowing him a greater range of speed and strength. The blonde ninja quickly closed the distance between him and the Yuki ninja and struck the larger ninja in the gut with a punch. However, Naruto was taken back when it appeared as if his attack did minimal damage and his attacker retaliated with another punch to the chest, throwing Naruto back. Damn, this guy hits almost as hard as Sakura-chan, thought Naruto. And what is it with that armor? I can't quite say for sure, but it feels like that armor has its own chakra flowing through it, commented Kurama. Try another jutsu, I want to see something. Naruto nodded. Futon, Fox Gale. A wind fox dashed towards the Yuki ninja and slashed at the large man. Naruto saw as his armor glowed and immediately began to dissipate as if the armor was absorbing it. However, Naruto saw that the fox was able to land a small scratch on the brute before the jutsu completely disappeared. I see. Thought Naruto, that armor is absorbing jutsus. However, it doesn't appear as if it can absorb all of some more powerful jutsu. I'd say anything B rank or above can damage him, although the armor will negate a good portion of the jutsu's power, replied Kurama. Right, if it's a powerful jutsu I need, then let's try this, thought Naruto as he began forming a spiraling blue orb in his hand. Shit, that thing looks dangerous. I don't even think my chakra armor will be able to protect me against that, thought the brute. Naruto darted off towards the Yuki ninja, dodging his attacker's attempt to stop his attack by shooting his arm out towards him. Rasengan. Naruto slammed the Rasengan into the brute's stomach, sending the man flying backwards as chunks of the armor began to peel off. Hey, that got you, commented Naruto as he walked towards the giant, who was now slumped against a tree next to a lake. Now, why are you here? Is it for Yuki? The brute just grinned. Wouldn't you like to know? Before Naruto could attempt to get anything more out of him, the Yuki ninja rolled over and disappeared into the lake. Damn it! Swore Naruto. They have to be here after Yuki. It was at that moment that Naruto received his confirmation when the shadow clone that he left with the actress dispelled, telling him that she had just been attacked by some other Yuki ninja. I can't believe it's almost done. Just one more scene and the first ever Icha movie will finally be done, thought Jiraiya. Jiraiya stopped in his tracks. I don't know what you're doing here, but I suggest that unless you're here for my autograph, that you leave. Humph, well, aren't you a bit observant for a simple writer, commented a woman with pink hair who was also wearing chakra armor and a Yukigakure headband. Before Jiraiya could respond, with one of his silly introductions, a pair of mechanical wings unfolded from the Yuki Kanochi's back and she flew down from the building she was perched upon, knife in hand and ready to stick Jiraiya. Jiraiya ducked under the first attack as the kunoichi passed over him, letting out a crazy laugh. She turned around again, to resume the attack, only to be struck upside the head with Jiraiya's foot, sending her crashing into a nearby warehouse. Jiraiya then stepped into the warehouse, hoping to capture her and find out more as to her mission. You know, I thought someone who writes books like the Icha novel would be up for more of a relaxing night with a few bottles of sake with a beautiful woman like me, called out the kunoichi from the shadows of the warehouse. I'd do that with a beautiful woman any night, however a screaming banshee is a different story. Even I, the great toad sage Jiraiya, have to have some standards, replied Jiraiya. What the hell did you call me? A screaming banshee? Shrieked the Yuki ninja as she jumped down from the rafter. Watch your mouth, you old toad. I'll show you just who you're dealing with. Before she could reach Jiraiya, she felt something slimy wrap around her and throw her into the wall. She tried to pick herself out of the crates she fell into, but before she could move, she felt her limb go numb as Jiraiya stuck a tag with a paralysis seal on her. Now then, are you going to tell me what you're doing here? Asked Jiraiya. Why the hell would I tell you anything? You're just a worthless writer. How the hell could someone like you beat me? Shouted the banshee. You're just some good-for-nothing thug. If you wouldn't have been screaming away like that, you would have heard me introduce myself earlier, commented Jiraiya. Fine, then who exactly are you? Scoffed the kunoichi. Glad you asked, commented Jiraiya, as he hopped on top of the toad he had summoned to deal with the flying banshee and made a pose. The holy toad sage of Mount Mayaboku, I am the one and only Jthura Ivia, JJJ Jiraiya? A as in T the S Sanin? Stuttered the pinkette. The one and only, said Jiraiya. Now, start talking. Damn it, shouted Naruto as he raced towards Yuki's trailer. He should have immediately raced towards Yuki's trailer, or at least sent a few clones, the moment that Yuki ninja showed up. Upon reaching Yuki's trailer, his eyes widened as he saw the door smashed inwards. Darting inside, he found Sandayu lying on the ground unconscious. Old man, shouted Naruto as he ran over to Sandayu, shaking the manager a few times to wake him up. Oog, grunted Sandayu as he regained conscious. Yuki? Yuki? Where is she? I'm sorry, I don't know, replied Naruto. Then they, said Sandayu as tears came to his eyes. No, this can't be happening. She was our hope. They couldn't have gotten her? What are you talking about, old man? Asked Naruto. Damn, I see their little distraction technique worked, said Jiraiya as he stepped into the trailer, a small pink and green frog following closely behind. Uro-senin, Sandayu, I think it's about time we had a little talk, said Jiraiya. I'm sorry for keeping this a secret, but as a ninja you surely must understand the reasoning behind it, said Sandayu. Fujikaze Yuki is merely an alias. Her real name is Kazahana Koyuki, the rightful daimyo of the Land of Snow. However, when she was just a little girl, her uncle, Dodo, staged a violent coup that resulted in the death of her father and we were forced to flee the nation. For the last 15 years, we've been in exile with Koyuki becoming the actress you know as Fujikaze Yuki. For the last 15 years, we've managed to remain off of Dodo's radar, but now, it appears as if he's caught up with her, said Jiraiya. What is it exactly that Dodo wants with her? I mean, if he just wanted her dead, he would have just assassinated her and not capture her. Sandayu held out a clutched hand and opened it to reveal a purple crystal necklace. This, the Hex Crystal. It is the key to the treasure of the Kazahana clan. Uro-senin? Asked Naruto, who saw his master in deep though, staring at the crystal in Sandayu's hand. Please, I beg you. You two are ninja. Please, save her. Without her, spring will never come to the Land of Snow, begged Sandayu. Naruto's face got that look of determination on it. We'll save her, don't worry, T-Bio, Jiraiya sighed. Well, when the kid says he'll do something, he's going to do it. Pack your stuff, Naruto, we're for the Land of Snow as soon as possible. And cut. I knew it was all for naught. It was hopeless from the very beginning. I knew he would eventually find me one day. Fujikaze Yuki, also known as Kazahana Koyuki, could only help but reflect on the current situation she was in. For the past 15 years, ever since she fled the Land of Snow with the help of her manager and caretaker Sandayu, she had been successfully avoiding detection by Dodo Kazahana, her uncle and the one responsible for this entire mess. She was currently being led off a ship that had just made port in the Land of Snow, shackled and led along the docks by her captor, one of Dodo's personal guards by the name of Ruga Nadair. Following closely behind was the second of Dodo's lackeys, a large brute by the name of Fuyukuma Mizore. Apparently there was a third member of their group, but she had gone missing during the mission. Being paraded off the docks in front of a few snow ninja and some of the civilian population, she took in the looks that were being sent her way. Most of the ninja, all wearing some variant of chakra armor, were sending her wild grins as the last hope of resistance against Dodo-sama's regime had finally been captured. However, the looks on the civilians present were pretty much the opposite. Their faces showed a look of sorrow and depression, seeing their once beloved princess paraded around like some meager trophy. These people had looked forward to the day that Kazahana Koyuki, rightful ruler of the Land of Snow, would return, but they had only wished that it wasn't like this. What only made it worse for Koyuki was when she saw their condition and the current state of the town. Buildings were beginning to fall to ruins and the people looked like they were barely able to get by. Some appeared emaciated while others barely had much clothes hanging on them. For a land that was constantly covered in snow, it was a miracle these people were even alive. Reaching the outside of the gates of Dodo's fortress, which had been built overtop the once majestic Kazahana castle, Koyuki saw about half a dozen guards standing in front of her, most likely there to collect her and take her to her uncle. Two of the guards stepped forward. It appears as if your mission succeeded, Nadair, said one of the guards, but it appears as if you're missing one. Where is Fubuki? Asked one of the guards. Sadly she didn't make it, said Nadair, trying to fake sympathy for his fallen comrade. I see. Oh well, said the other guard. Dodo-sama is awaiting you. Nadair nodded as he and Mizore led Koyuki towards the fortress gates. I guess this is it, thought Koyuki as she looked back to see the assembled villagers who had come to see if that was really their princess who had been captured. I'm sorry I let you all down. I figured it would be hopeless from the beginning, but still I'm sorry. It's not hopeless. The hero has finally arrived. Koyuki's head shot up as she heard a familiar voice echo through the crowd and two of the guards in the rear suddenly exploded, catching the remaining gate guards in the inferno and sending Nadair, Mizore, and Koyuki flying backwards. Only Koyuki found herself being caught by someone. A few days ago. Damn it. How much longer, Uro-senin? Shouted one Uzumaki Naruto from the deck of a rather large sailing vessel. Stop asking. I got the fastest ship available and this is the fastest it can go, yelled Jiraiya at the impatient blonde. I just talked to the captain. We should make port in the Land of Snow by tomorrow. Good. The sooner we save Koyuki, the better, said Naruto. Now listen up, Naruto, said Jiraiya. There was something he needed to tell his student regarding their current mission. I think this is the first time you've been on an infiltration mission, so there are a few things I need to tell you. Naruto nodded as he listened closely. First, the last thing we want to do is go around setting off all the alarms until we know where Koyuki is and we've rescued her. Even then, we want to draw as little attention as possible. That means you can't just go charging in. From what Iruka told me, you've actually got a high degree of stealth skills from all those pranks you pulled back in the academy. Well, now's the time to put them to good use, right? So what do we need to do first? Asked Naruto. First, we need to locate the princess. They were only a day ahead of us, so it is entirely possible that we've surpassed them in this chase and will reach the land of snow before they do. It is also very likely that they are already in the land of snow and Koyuki is locked up in some dungeon, if not worse, explained Jiraiya. We need to do a little information gathering to determine where exactly she is and what our course of action will be. Naruto, once we make port, we're in hostile territory. Make sure you have everything you need for any kind of situation that may arise, and by that I mean be ready for anything, said Jiraiya. Naruto nodded. For the blonde Jinchuriki, this was his first mission of this kind. This was the first time he was actually infiltrating a country to rescue what was apparently the rightful princess to the nation. He knew this mission was important, especially given what was at stake. Flashback, the ship had just left port and was on its way towards the land of snow and Jiraiya was staring intently at the purple hex crystal in his hand. Naruto was sitting to his right at the table within one of the cabins on the ship. Sitting across from them was a man who had been withholding a large secret, one that could affect the fate of an entire nation. I must sincerely apologize for everything and thank you for your aid, said Sandy. That's fine and all, but you still haven't told us everything regarding this whole event, said Jiraiya. I suppose I haven't. Koyuki is the daughter of Kazahana Sasetsu, who was a benevolent and fair ruler of the land of snow. I've known her since she was a little girl and ever since then, I always knew she would grow up to be just like her father. Now, Sasetsu's brother, Dodo, was the exact opposite. He was manipulating, devious, and just plain cruel. Sasetsu kept preaching about the treasure of the Kazahana clan and how it would one day bring spring to the land of snow. Now Dodo, being the greedy bastard he is, felt that sort of treasure would be better off in his hands, not in the hands of someone who would frivolously give it away. For a few years, Dodo secretly gathered support within the Shinobi village of Yukigakure until that night. That night? What happened? Asked Naruto. Jiraiya sent Naruto a look for interrupting the story. It was on that night, after Dodo had gained the support of a majority of the ninja of Yukigakure, that he made his move, and killed his brother, staging a successful coup d'etat and proclaiming himself as the ruler of the land of snow. On that night, with the help of some ninja who were still loyal to Suizan and a ninja from your village by the name of Hatake Kakashi. Wait, you knew Kakashi-sensei? Exclaimed Naruto. Sensei? Asked Sandayu with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, he's my Jonin-sensei, although he and the rest of my team have been temporarily dissolved for training purposes, said Naruto. I see. Well, it was Kakashi-san that took Koyuki and myself and helped us flee the country, taking the hex crystal and the key to the Kazahana clan treasure with us. Now, you would think that Dodo would be mad, letting the one thing he desired most slip through his fingers, but no, he was not mad. He was furious. For the next 5 years after that, Koyuki and I were barely avoiding capture by Dodo's men, constantly moving, changing our names, and carefully guarding our true identities, said Sandayu. You know, for someone in hiding, becoming a high-profile actress probably wasn't the smartest move, said Jiraiya. I realize that now, but being an actress has always been one of Koyuki's dreams and I thought it would be a way to keep her happy. You see, after that night, she began to sink into depression due to the loss of her father and she began to give up hope that we would escape Dodo's clutches and return home, explained Sandayu. It's been about 15 years since we fled the country and over those 15 years, I've been doing everything I could to get her mind off of Dodo and to try and make her happy, and I was doing good as well, until that band of ninjas showed up a month ago. You mean the ones Naruto fought off? Asked Jiraiya. Sandayu nodded. In hindsight, we probably should have moved then and there, going back into hiding, said Sandayu. Or you could have just told us the moment those ninja attacked. If you had, then Naruto and I could have kept a closer eye on her, said Jiraiya. After all, I am one of the legendary Sannin, the great toad sage Jiraiya. Naruto just sweat dropped and muttered something under his breath, earning a look from Jiraiya. And the Gaki's not that bad either, I'm sorry for that. I had considered sending for ninja security, but I felt that would only draw more attention to us, said Sandayu. You have to understand that I had to keep as low a profile from Dodo as possible. He's a tyrant and will do anything to ensure his hold on the country. So he's just going to kill her the moment they reach port? Asked Jiraiya. Thankfully, no. His greed will be the one thing saving Koyuki from immediate execution, said Sandayu. As long as he does not get this hex crystal, there is still hope. End flashback. We've got to stop him and save Koyuki, declared Naruto. I know, Gaki, I know, but we can't just go charging in there, guns a-blazing, said Jiraiya. Just whatever you do, don't lose your head. Hey Riku, did you hear? Called out a Yukigakure shinobi as he walked into a bar. Another Yuki shinobi turned to greet his apparent comrade. It sounds like Nadair's team finally caught that bitch. Wow. Seriously? Exclaimed Riku. Damn, that Nadair's something. No wonder he's Dodo-sama's right-hand man. A third Yuki ninja, with long black hair and a scar going down his left cheek, came up to the bar, next to the duo. Really? Where did you hear something like that? It's the word going around the palace. I just found out I left guard duty, said the Yuki shinobi. Apparently, they're arriving tomorrow at the docks. I can't believe that after 15 years, we finally caught up with that bitch. Now nobody's going to be able to question Dodo-sama's rule. And once he gets his hands on the Kazahana treasure, then not even the 5 great nations will be able to stand against our might. I see, so it appears as if we arrived early. This actually makes things easier. Taking a seat next to the scar-faced Yuki ninja, another Yuki ninja, this one with short and spiky brown hair and a standard Yukigakure uniform consisting of chakra armor, did his best to repress the anger that was building up inside of him. I so want to kick that guy's ass, but sadly that would require blowing my cover. Calm down, kid, I've got a feeling you'll get your chance. Hey, don't worry Kurama. Don't worry. Oh. I guess this calls for a drink, exclaimed the scar-faced ninja. Bartender, 4 drinks for me and my friends. The bartender nodded as he set a plate with 4 drinks in front of the scar-faced ninja. The ninja then proceeded to pass 2 drinks to his spiky-haired comrade, Riku, and Riku's friend. Hey, thanks, name's Kazama, Hidezu Kazama, and this is my nephew Hidezu Minato, said Kazama, pointing to the spiky-haired ninja next to him. Thanks Kazama-san, the name's Senjetsu and this here's my buddy Riku, said Senjetsu, as he and Riku took their drinks. To Dodo-sama, the Yukikage, Kazama raised his glass and Minato reluctantly did the same. To Dodo-sama, as their glasses clanged and the 4 downed their drinks, a large explosion ripped through the town. What was that? Asked Minato. Damn, it's gotta those rebel bastards again, exclaimed Senjetsu as he and Riku grabbed their equipment and ran out into the town. Minato as Kazama just looked at each other and nodded before heading out as well. Outside, it was chaos as explosions were everywhere and the entirety of Yuki ninja gathered were thrown into the confusion. No one could pinpoint the location of the rebels, with the exception of Minato and Kazama, but they were focused on other targets at the moment. Riku and Senjetsu jumped into action upon catching a glimpse of one of the rebels, only to feel their bodies suddenly go limp as the drugs that had been slipped into their drinks and the 2 fell to the street. However, they never hit the ground as Minato and Kazama discreetly dragged their unconscious bodies away using the cover of the battle. Oog, where am I? What happened? Senjetsu slowly began to stir from his drug-induced slumber. The first thing he noticed was that he was bound. The second being the voices he heard, the same voices of those 2 from the bar. His vision, while clearing up, was still blurry and he could only make out a rough image of the 2 standing before him. Hey, not bad Naruto. That actually worked. I didn't think anyone would fall for the old drug sake trick, said Jiraiya. Is that what you told yourself when Bakken did the same thing to you? Retorted Naruto. Quiet about that brat. Defended Jiraiya. I'm just saying, replied Naruto. The 2 captured Yuki ninja looked at their captors with mixed expressions. Okay you 2, really funny, laughed Riku. Get us drunk and screw with us. Now why don't you untie us and we'll go back for another round. I'm afraid I can't do that, explained Jiraiya, as he dropped his Kazama transformation and Naruto dropped his own. The 2 bound Yuki ninjas' eyes widened in surprise as they began to realize their current situation. But I'm a nice guy, so we can go back to the bar as soon as you tell me everything you know about Kazahana Koyuki and Kazahana Dodo. Hey, like we'd ever tell you. All you need to know is that when Dodo-sama gets his hands on the so-called princess, even the 5 great nations will fear our power, said Senjetsu. After a few minutes of questioning, it was obvious that Jiraiya wasn't going to be getting anything out of these guys by just talking. Hey Naruto, how would you like to learn a new jutsu, said Jiraiya. Really? A new jutsu? Exclaimed an excited Naruto. Ha, you're going to teach the kid a new jutsu here? This I've gotta see. What is it? Are you going to teach him how to beg us for candy money or something? Mocked Riku, officially earning him the title of the first guinea pig. Okay Naruto, I think you remember this one, said Jiraiya, placing 2 fingers on Riku's forehead and 2 more over his heart. Ninpo, Toad transformation. In a puff of smoke and a flash of light, Riku was gone, replaced by a small toad. Ha, you think that measly genjutsu is going to get me to talk? Scoffed Senjetsu. Oh, that's no mere genjutsu, said Jiraiya. I hate to say it, but your friend truly is amongst the amphibians now, as you'll soon find out in a matter of moments, assuming my young apprentice here doesn't screw up on his first time. Quit joking around. There's no way you can actually turn someone into a frog, let alone me, said Senjetsu. Nah, you're probably right. Naruto here doesn't have enough experience with the jutsu to fully transform you yet, said Jiraiya, flustering Naruto a bit. If you're lucky, you'll end up in a kind of half-toad state, perhaps a human body with a toad head, or, just stop already. There's no way you can turn me into a toad. Now release the genjutsu on my friend, shouted Senjutsu as he motioned over to Riki. Croak. A small fly buzzed past Riku and the tiny toad opened its mouth and shot its tongue at the fly, gobbling it up, and making Senjutsu's face go blue. Q quit it. It's just a genjutsu, stuttered Senjutsu, trying to reassure himself. Say whatever you want. I'm sure Tsunade Haim could use some more dissection models while teaching medical jutsu to her students, said Jiraiya. I even heard that she knows this lightning jutsu to make a dead frog dance. At this time, Riku hopped up a pile of crates and landed on top of Senjutsu's head, before croaking again. Now Senjutsu was really beginning to panic. Why you wouldn't, said Senjutsu. Me? No. But as I said, Naruto needs someone to practice on, said Jiraiya, motioning to Naruto. By this point in time, Naruto had completely picked up on the act and was just grinning. Naruto proceeded to go through the motions of his master. Ninpo, Toad Trans. Wait. I'll talk. Screamed Senjutsu. They're arriving at the docks tomorrow at noon. From there, I imagine she'll be escorted along the main street to the fortress. Now please, don't turn me into a frog. Jiraiya smiled, as their captive filled them in on more of the details. The following day, 2 Yuki ninja guards were coming onto the guard rotation in front of the fortress where they would await the arrival of Kazana Koyuki. Today was a tense day for those involved in Dodo's regime, and the attack from yesterday had the entire town on high alert. It was today that Dodo-sama would truly be able to claim what was rightfully his, and the land of snow would rise to glory under Dodo-sama's power. The 2 guards were tense. Today was one of those days where just about anything could happen and that you should be ready for anything. They had taken the back roads to get to the fortress gates, wanting to avoid any angry civilians. While most of the shinobi in the country might have been happy with Dodo's rule, the civilians were anything but pleased with their tyrant ruler, and it wasn't uncommon for a civilian to do whatever they could to hinder the shinobi in the town. A few minutes later, T-guards emerged from the alleyway, with the gates of the fortress in sight and the sound of a horn in the distance, indicating the arrival of Nadair's team and their prisoner. The guards saluted their comrades at the gate and took their posts as the team consisting of Nadair and Mizore approached the gate with a certain princess in tow. 2 of the other guards stepped forward to meet with Nadair. It appears as if your mission succeeded, Nadair stated one of the guards. However, it appears as if you're missing one. Where's Fubuki? Sadly, she didn't make it, said Nadair, trying to fake an ounce of sympathy. I see. Oh well, said the other guard who had approached Nadair. Dodo-sama is awaiting you. Nadair nodded and led Koyuki towards the gates as the captured princess turned to the people who had gathered. I'm sorry I let you all down. I figured it would be hopeless from the beginning, but I truly am sorry, said Koyuki. It's not hopeless. The hero has finally arrived, shouted one of the 2 guards that had arrived last. Exploding clone jutsu, called out a voice from atop the roofs of the village, and the 2 clones exploded in a violent display of flames and energy, throwing Nadair and Mizore back, along with the princess, and killing the guards who were close enough to the blast. Koyuki found herself thrown back, only to be caught by a man that she recognized with white hair as he took off down the street with many of the civilians erupting in cheer. Dodo was a happy man today. Today would finally be the day. The ship containing his prize had just arrived and he had just opened the doors to his fortress to greet his niece for the first time in 15 years. Today couldn't get any better, that is until he saw a massive explosion rip apart his gate and a white-haired man take off down the street with the princess. Guards! After them! Ordered Dodo as his forces quickly assembled and pursued the white-haired man. They passed the gate, only to find them nailed down by a barrage of hundreds of shuriken. About half of them were wearing some form of chakra armor, which was the half that wasn't affected by the shuriken hail. Jiraiya-san? Asked a surprised Koyuki. Who else? You didn't think I'd let you get away without finishing the movie first, said Jiraiya as he was joined by an orange and black blur. How'd it go, kid? There's a good chunk of them wearing that weird armor, so my shuriken didn't affect them, unfortunately. I did manage to cut the number chasing us by half though, and the rest are dealing with my clones. That'll at least slow them down, said Naruto. Why did you come? Asked Koyuki. You shouldn't have come, you don't know Dodo, he'll kill you. Why does this sound kind of familiar? Asked Naruto. Probably because that kid from Wave Country was like that, replied Kurama. Naruto smirked at this. Hey, don't worry. This isn't the first time I've taken down a maniacal tyrant who supposedly will kill me, bragged Naruto. It was at this time that Naruto's senses kicked in and the 3 of them came to a halt as a crowd of about 50 Yuki ninja were blocking their escape route. Hand over the princess, and I promise I'll make your death painless, called out Dodo, who had arrived in the rear, surrounding Naruto, Jiraiya, and Koyuki. Dodo didn't give them much of a chance to respond before sending his forces towards the two Konoha ninja and the actress princess, only for a mass of smoke bombs to go off throughout the streets they were standing on. What the hell is going on? Thought Naruto. He barely had time to react before he felt a rope wrap around him and yank him upwards towards the top of the buildings. Once clear of the smoke, Naruto saw a good number of ninjas standing on the rooftops, only they were not wearing chakra armor, and instead of the traditional Yukigakure symbol of 4 dots, it had a hexagonal snowflake design on it. And standing within those ninja was Sandayu. As soon as Naruto landed on the roof and the rope loosened, he was already in a defensive position. "Who the hell are you? And why do you have old man Sandayu?" demanded Naruto. "Calm down. It appears we are on the same side," spoke one of the new shinobi before making a hand signal. On his mark, the couple dozen or so shinobi lobbed a bunch of tagged kunai down upon their enemy, resulting in multiple explosions that rattled the building and forced them to leap away before the building itself collapsed. As the rebels, Leaf Ninja, and Koyuki jumped back onto a more sturdy building, they heard something call out from the smoke. "Hyotan, Black Dragon Blizzard." A black dragon of ice came shooting out of the smoke, directly towards Koyuki. "Koyuki," shouted Naruto, but he wasn't the one to move. Sandayu was the one who jumped towards Koyuki, knocking her out of the path of the ice jutsu, but getting hit himself as the ice dug deep into his flesh. "Sandayu," shouted Koyuki as she saw her long-time protector fall after taking that hit for her. "Shit, we need to get out of here," exclaimed one of the rebel ninja as he ordered the rest of his company to grab Koyuki and Sadayu's body while making their retreat into the mountains surrounding Yukigakure. As a crowd of people began to move back into the sheltering caves that protected them from the incoming blizzard, one woman was left standing in front of a lone marker on the side of a cliff overlooking the once majestic village of Yukigakure. In mountain lore, markers have been used to help guide travelers safely throughout their harsh journey through the wilderness to ensure that they came out alive. There was only one thing different about this marker: it wasn't a marker for the living. Kazahana Koyuki couldn't help but stare at the inscription carved on the grave marker. "Asama Sandayu, a hero of spring." Upon arriving at the base of the Yuki rebels, Sandayu succumbed to his injuries, but ended before he was able to ask for one last request, which was to bring spring back to the land of snow. It was a foolish dream to begin with. "I'm sorry Sandayu, but I can't do this anymore," said Koyuki, shedding a few tears, which happened to freeze before they hit the ground. "So you're just going to give up?" asked a familiar voice coming from behind. Koyuki turned to see a certain blonde-haired boy standing behind her. "And why should I continue?" asked Koyuki, coldly. "Because your dad and your old man Sandayu would have wanted you to," said Naruto firmly. "Do you think they wanted this for their country? I saw the way those people looked. I saw the despair in their eyes, but the moment Uro-Senin and I took off running with you, I immediately saw the hope warm those cold hearts of theirs. They want you to lead them, not some tyrant of an uncle you have. What do you know? Anyone who opposes him, he'll just kill," replied Koyuki. "Your uncle sounds like someone I once had the displeasure of coming across once," said Naruto. "His name was Gato. He was a business tycoon and a crook at the same time. He robbed the wealth and hope out of the people of the land of waves to the verge of breaking. By the time my team and I arrived on a mission, it looked hopeless. But then again, even in the darkest of times, there always is a small glint of hope. For the wave, that hope came in the form of an old drunkard named Tazuna. We were assigned as bodyguards for him while he completed a bridge that would return the wave back into something that people could actually live for. But Gato didn't like it, so he tried to kill the old man to prevent the wave from having a way around his hold on them. It was also there that I meet Tazuna's grandson, a boy named Inari. And he said the same exact thing you're saying, that it was hopeless. And let me guess, it was," replied Koyuki. "Hell no. In the end, the entire village was roused by the hope that was brought by Tazuna's efforts, and in the end, Gato was defeated," said Naruto. "I guess what I'm trying to say is that no matter how hopeless it may seem, there is always a way to fight for what's right. Your father believed that, and so did Sandayu. Even I believe it's not lost. I'll fight this Dodo guy, and if I have to, I'll kill him myself to ensure the safety of the people here. T-by-o." With that, Naruto turned away to leave Koyuki to the many thoughts swimming in her head. "Sandayu, father, what do I do? How is she?" asked the commander of the rebel forces. He was a man by the name of Yukimura Masao. The man looked to be in his late 30s or even early 40s. Masao had black spiky hair that shot backwards and a rather large scar over his right eye, yet the eye itself still looked to be healthy. He wore what was deemed to be an old Yukigakure uniform, which consisted of light blue pants and a solid white flax jacket. The man also had a pair of tantos strapped to his back, which Naruto figured he incorporated into his fighting style. To finish off his uniform, he had a thick white cloak on with a lowered hood, something that acted as protection against the cold in the mountains of the land of snow. I gave her the good old Uzumaki pep talk. She should be fine any minute now, T-Bio. Said Naruto. Hey kid, you said your name's Uzumaki, right? Asked Masao. Any relation to the Uzumaki clan? Yeah, actually my ancestors are from that clan. At least before it was destroyed, said Naruto, his voice growing quiet for that last part. Hey, speaking of which, you guys can all use ice-style jutsu, right? Masao nodded. Yeah, it's been a shinobi art passed down through generations throughout our land. Wow. I thought Haku was the only one bearing that bloodline, exclaimed Naruto. Wait. You mean you know someone who actually has the Hyoton bloodline? Asked Masao demandingly. Yeah, there's this friend of mine back in my village who can use ice-style jutsu as well, said Naruto. Wait, could he be related to anyone here? If you say he can use ice style in a warm climate, then his ice jutsus are by far stronger than our own, said another of the shinobi in the cavern. We can only manipulate pre-existing ice, but if what you say is true, then does that mean he's a Yuki? Yeah. Naruto was cut off by shouting. Teiko. Urgent message from the village, shouted a young girl, about Naruto's age if maybe a year younger. She was actually rather pretty, and the one thing that stood out was the white hair that was tied in a ponytail behind her. Report. Ordered Masao. Dodo is demanding the return of the princess and the surrender of our forces, or else he's going to start killing the villagers. Announced the girl. This caught everyone's attention. That monster. He can't be serious, cried out one of the rebels. Sir, what do we do? Masao's thoughts were at a standstill. The reason they were doing this was to save the people from Dodo's oppressive rule, and if they gave in now, then all their efforts would have been for naught. However, if they disobeyed his demand, then the very people they were fighting for would die. And then there was the princess to worry about. She was the last flake of hope for the land of snow, and if Dodo got his hands on her, well, all hope would be lost. Are you really just going to stand there and think about it? I thought we were fighting for spring here, came a voice that caught everyone's attention. Princess, hey, glad to see you've come to your senses, Koyuki, said Naruto. And don't worry, I've got a plan. We're all doomed. Hey, I didn't ask for your opinion, objected Naruto. And it's actually a good plan. In the corner of the cave, Jiraiya was listening in as Naruto told everyone his plan. The Gaki's starting to think a little. This ought to be interesting. 3 days passed with the deadline to Dodo's offer of surrender ending at noon that day. If the rebel forces didn't show with the princess, then he would start killing the civilians as a response. Thankfully for everyone though, on the morning of the third day, they all showed with the princess and a white flag in hand. Dodo eyed the princess and said the very thing he desired hanging around her neck, the hex crystal. I see you've finally decided to end this little game of hide and seek. Koyuki called out Dodo as his guards surrounded the rebels and he stepped forward towards Koyuki. I see you've finally realized that you can't hide from me. Not really. I just have too many people counting on me now. It's about time someone stood up to you, uncle, said Koyuki. I'll surrender myself over, but I want you to let them go. Koyuki pointed to the rebel forces behind her. Dodo merely raised an eyebrow at this request. Does she really think I'm that naive? He thought. Very well, but the hex crystal first. Koyuki sighed. She had expected this to come. Reluctantly, she took the necklace off and handed it to her uncle, who examined it. Very well, your Konoha friends can go first. While he had promised himself that he was going to rise to a status that the 5 great nations would someday fear, it was still too soon to get Konoha involved in this mess. Jiraiya and Naruto nodded as they turned around and headed for the gate. As the Konoha ninja got closer to the gate, Dodo's eyes grew wide as he inspected the crystal further. What the hell is this? Guards, kill them. He ordered. The guards moved in to kill the rebels, but they all disappeared upon contact as Naruto just smirked. Uzumaki style, siphoning containment seal. Immediately, 6 tags that the shadow clones had dropped before being dispelled lit up around a sizable portion of the Yuki ninja and a barrier formed around them, trapping a good 3 dozen of Dodo's overall forces. Within moments, the 3 dozen ninja within the barrier could feel their chakra being drained from them at an alarming rate, their chakra armor doing very little since it was being drained as well. Dodo glared at Koyuki with a look of rage before backhanding her and sending her falling to the ground and smashing the hex crystal, causing it to disappear in a puff of smoke, showing that it was merely a transformed shadow clone. Unable to break through the barrier containing their trapped comrades, the Yuki nin settled for the next best thing, attacking the one who had activated the containment seal. Most of the Yuki shinobi backed up in time to avoid the hail of shuriken tagged with ice bombs on the end. Those who weren't fast enough were impaled on numerous spires of ice that shot outward from the kunai. Hey! Those are ours. Where the hell did you get them? Yelled one of the Yuki nin as the rebel fighters leapt down to join the battle. Apparently someone had been raiding some of Dodo's supply warehouses. It was at this time that Dodo grabbed Yuki and ran with her back into his fortress. Seeing this, Masao turned to Naruto and Jiraiya. You two go after Dodo, We can handle the rest of his goons. Naruto and Jiraiya nodded before running towards Dodo's fortress. As the steel front door closed, both Naruto and Jiraiya charged up a Rasengan in their hands and slammed them both into the door, sending it flying off its hinges. Before they could advance much further into the fortress, Naruto and Jiraiya were stopped when a wall of ice blocked their path and the remaining 2 ninja of Dodo's personal guard showed up. Well, if it isn't one of the legendary Sannin. Jiraiya, is it? Asked Nadir. As much as I am for the pleasantries, I'm afraid we're in a bit of a rush, replied Jiraiya. Kaden, Dragon Fire, Bullet. Jiraiya unleashed his powerful fire jutsu upon the 2 Yuki ninja who jumped out of the way to avoid it. However, they weren't Jiraiya's true target. When the flames settled, the ice wall had been completely melted. Naruto, go on ahead. I'll deal with these 2. Naruto nodded before running ahead. Not wanting Naruto to get away, Mizore shot his grappling hook arm towards Naruto. In a quick motion, Naruto drew one of his wind blades and slashed through the hand like it was nothing before continuing his pursuit of Dodo and Koyuki. That kid's really a pain in the ass, growled Mizore. You get used to it, replied Jiraiya before he took a fighting stance. Mizore grabbed what looked to be a snowboard from his back and planted his feet onto it as he sped towards Jiraiya. By this point in time, the cold air let in from the door being busted down had frozen the water that lined the floor, giving Mizore a slick surface to make use of his tool. Jiraiya evaded the attack by jumping to the ceiling and clinging to it with chakra. Hyotan, fierce tiger, shouted Nadir as he sent a tiger made of ice darting towards Jiraiya just as he landed. The ice tiger struck Jiraiya, and as the dust cleared, Nadir saw Jiraiya wrapped up in what appeared to be a mixture of needles and hair. Ninpo, Needle Jizo, called out Jiraiya. Mizore came around for a second attack and punched at Jiraiya with his good, and flesh, hand. The hand was driven right into Jiraiya's defense and the needles pierced into and through Mizore's hand, causing the Yuki ninja to yelp out in pain. Ninpo, Needle Hell, called out Jiraiya as the needles that wrapped him suddenly shot out towards Nadara and Mizore. The 2 Yuki nin just grinned as they increased the chakra in their armor just slightly, but enough to repel Jiraiya's attacks. Jiraiya growled. Of course it's that armor. That Banshee told me about it, and from what Naruto told me, only in a rank or higher jutsu can get through the armor. Enough of this, Hyotan, Shredding Blizzard, called out Nadir as shards of ice shot towards Jiraiya, shredding the Sannin. Hey, I've got you 2 now. Summoning Jutsu, Toadmouth Bind, called out Jiraiya's voice from behind them. Before turning around, they saw that Jiraiya was gone, replaced by a piece of furniture from somewhere in the hall. Mizore growled and prepared to rush Jiraiya again on his snowboard, but found himself caught up by something sticky and fleshy. When the 2 ninja looked around, they saw the entire hallway turn into what appeared to be an esophagus. You are now in the stomach of Iwagama. You will die at my hand. There is no escape. We'll see about that, shouted Nadir as he tried to perform an ice jutsu, only for nothing to happen, seeing as there wasn't any ice in the esophagus of the great fire-breathing toad of Mount Myaboku. Jiraiya grinned before slamming his hand into the fleshy innards of the toad, causing a crushing wave to be sent towards the Yuki ninja. They tried to run, but there was no escape from this jutsu of Jiraiya's, and down the halls, screaming followed by the crushing of bones could be heard. As the esophagus retreated, Jiraiya continued down the hall, after his student, only to stop momentarily as an explosion rocked the fortress. Naruto bolted into what appeared to be the throne room with Dodo holding Koyuki in a sort of headlock and demanding her to give him the real hex crystal. Hey! Let her go, demanded Naruto. Dodo looked up and just grinned at Naruto. You really think I'm going to do it just because some snot-nosed kid says to? Replied Dodo. As Dodo glared at Naruto, this gave Koyuki the opportunity she needed in order to reach into her sleeve and pull out a tanto. With a powerful thrust, she jabbed the tanto back into Dodo's gut, causing the dictator to stumble backwards with a shocked expression. Yeah. That got him. Cheered Naruto, only for his senses to kick in as Dodo began laughing evilly as he stopped his fake stumbling. Grabbing the tanto and ripping it, along with his clothes off, he revealed himself to be wearing a pair of black chakra armor, which easily prevented the blade from piercing his flesh. Fine, I'll just kill you and then take the hex crystal. Once you're gone, there won't be anyone to stop me anyways. Dodo turned to Koyuki and sent her a look with intent to kill in it before backhanding her off the platform they were standing on. Koyuki, shouted Naruto, rushing over to catch her in time before hitting the ground. He blonde Jinchuriki grabbed Koyuki and jumped backwards just in time to avoid Dodo's Black Dragon Blizzard attack. Naruto set Koyuki down behind a pillar and could see that she was a bit shaken. Don't worry. I'll take care of this guy. You just keep believing that everything will be alright after this, T-Bio. Koyuki saw the determination in Naruto's eyes. He was right, if anyone could defeat her uncle it was him. You think you can beat me, kid? Laughed Dodo, using enhanced speed that his armor gave him to appear at Naruto's side and give the blonde a powerful punch. Had it not have been for all the speed and taijutsu training, Naruto would have taken that punch directly upside the head. Regardless, the blonde was sent crashing back into a pillar. Damn, that was almost as hard as Sakura-chan, commented Naruto. This was no longer a time for fooling around, so he deactivated the seals on him and prepared for the fight. Dodo rushed again, but with the reduced resistance, Naruto was able to dodge the strike while retaliating with his own. The punch didn't do too much as Dodo's armor negated most of the force behind the strike. Taking a few steps back, Dodo called out his jutsu Hyotan, Twin Dragon Blizzard. He thrust both of his hands forward, sending out two black ice dragons towards Naruto. Futon, Wind Dragon Bullet, called out Naruto, unleashing his own dragon-like jutsu against Dodo. The two jutsus collided, but it was clear that Dodo's had more power behind it as it soon overpowered Naruto's jutsu. Naruto jumped out of the way just in time to avoid taking the full force of Dodo's attack, still getting grazed in the process. Dodo then proceeded to shoot out another attack, forcing Naruto to dodge some more. Damn it. I can't just keep dodging. I've got to get in close and use the Rasengan, thought Naruto. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Dozens of Narutos appeared and they immediately leapt towards Dodo, who only grinned. Hyotan, Twin Dragon Blizzard. The jutsu connected with all the Naruto clones, dispelling them and sending Naruto flying back as the wall collapsed down upon the blonde. Naruto, shouted Koyuki. Get up, BFT. Too bad, kid. You should have left while I gave you the chance. It's over and you're going to die, said Dodo as he slammed his fist into Naruto, only to be caught in the middle of a massive explosion, erupting from Naruto, that shook the very foundations of the fortress and sent him flying backwards into the opposite wall of the throne room. It ain't over till I say it's over, exclaimed Naruto as he stepped out from behind a pillar, forming a Rasengan and charging straight over towards where Dodo was lying. Rasengan, shouted Naruto as he slammed the Rasengan into the chest piece on Dodo's armor, easily destroying it and causing the following explosion from the destruction of the chakra armor to add to the Rasengan's power and ultimately bring down the tyrant once and for all. He did it, gasped Koyuki in amazement. Hey, told you I would, replied Naruto, bringing a warm smile to Koyuki's face. Both Koyuki and Naruto turned to the entrance of the throne room when they heard a clapping noise, only to see Jiraiya walk out from the hallway. Not bad, Gaki, commented Jiraiya. The rebel army was successful in defeating Dodo's forces and was now preparing to charge into the fortress to assist their Konoha allies with the battle going on inside. However, before they had a chance to, cheers erupted from the front of the unit as they caught a glimpse of Naruto, Jiraiya, and Koyuki walking out of the palace, a beaten and nearly dead Dodo in tow. The cheers began to spread throughout the village as the citizens realized that they were finally free of the oppressive tyrant and that the rightful princess had returned. Any ninjas still loyal to Dodo and not captured or killed, took the cheers as their opportunity to flee before the new Yuki ninjas could round them up. A few hours passed, and Koyuki found herself back at the grave of Sanryu, moving a small patch of snow and earth to retrieve the hex crystal that she left in his care while she went to confront her uncle. I don't mean to be rude, but what exactly is so special about that crystal and why did Dodo want it so bad? Asked Jiraiya. Koyuki looked to Masaru, who just nodded. After sacrificing a lot to help us, it's only fair that you know what the Kazahana treasure really is, said Koyuki as she guided them to a frozen lake surrounded by 6 pillars at the base of the mountains. In the middle of the lake was a small shrine that Koyuki walked forward to, taking the hex crystal and placing it in a special keyhole. The entire area rumbled until a warm glow was emitted from the shrine. It's a chakra generator, commented Kurama. A chakra generator? Replied Naruto out loud. Yes, seeing as the land of snow is primarily cold all year round, my father and his researchers developed this chakra generator to allow us to bring a time of spring to the land of snow, explained Koyuki. I can see why Dodo was after this. If utilized correctly, a chakra generator like this one can be extremely powerful, said Jiraiya. Uro-sennin, what exactly is a chakra generator? Asked Naruto. Well, it's as it sounds. It generates chakra. It appears as if Dodo wanted to try and weaponize it and turn it against the rest of the shinobi world. It's a good thing he didn't get his hands on it, said Jiraiya. I thought all the chakra generators in existence were either destroyed or shut down and sealed. As you can see, this one is still operational, said Koyuki. However, we have no desire to see my father's precious invention used as a tool of war. Instead, he wanted it used to usher a period of warm spring to this nation. As I said, our nation is cold almost all year round, but this chakra generator is used to give us a period of about 6 months of spring each year. After that, then it needs to be shut down so that it can recharge, and a gentle winter returns to the land of snow. I see, said Jiraiya. This is also the best guarded secret of the land of snow, so I am humbly begging you not to tell anyone about it, pleaded Koyuki. A chakra generator would draw plenty of unwanted attention by those who would wish to see it put to more violent purposes, especially since this is the last one that I know of that is still operational, said Jiraiya. And without it, this nation would be doomed to an endless winter, said Koyuki. Don't worry, we won't tell, exclaimed Naruto. Jiraiya just sighed. While I don't like the idea of there being a chakra generator still in existence, we'll keep your secret so long as it's used for peaceful purposes. Thank you, bowed Koyuki. The land of snow is truly in your debt. If there is anything that you need, by all means, feel free to ask. And I would also like to invite you stay for the coronation next week. We'll stay, after all we've still got a movie to finish up, don't we? Grinned Jiraiya with a slightly perverted look on his face, getting a slight giggle out of Koyuki, and his perviness never ends. Thought Naruto. As Naruto, Jiraiya, Koyuki, and Masao re-entered the village, they were greeted with a thunderous applause. Already, the village felt just a little warmer and the citizens could tell that spring was on its way. Father, shouted the same white-haired kunoichi from before as she ran towards Masao. For Masao and his daughter, now that the retaking of the land of snow was successful, they would finally have a chance to act as a family once again. Huh? She's your daughter? Asked a slightly surprised Naruto. Yes, this is my daughter Natsuki. Natsuki, this is Uzumaki Naruto, one of the heroes of spring. Nice to finally meet you, Naruto-kun, bowed Natsuki, a slight blush coming to her face which went unnoticed by Naruto, but not Jiraiya. The week passed with a majority of the week spent towards getting the land of snow back on its feet. During this time, the weather had grown much warmer and most of the snow surrounding the village had melted. Spring had come and everyone couldn't be happier. One of the biggest reasons for celebration was the destruction of Dodo's military-like fortress and the beginnings of the construction of the new Kazahana Palace. Jiraiya had sent word for the movie crew to pack up and meet here, in the land of snow, as he felt it would be a perfect place to finish filming the movie, which honestly excited most people that a big-name movie was going to be shot in their homeland, even if it was an adult movie. A certain blonde Uzumaki was making his way back to the inn that he and Jiraiya had been given a room in. The two of them were treated like heroes, considering they kind of were heroes to this country. However, what Naruto didn't notice was a certain white-haired ninja following him around for a good portion of the week. It was on the following day when Jiraiya received a response to the report he had sent back to Konoha. Despite there not being any intentions to communicate with Konoha for the majority of the trip, a major international event such as this did require some sort of report to be sent. So what did Bakken say? Asked Naruto. She actually seemed rather impressed, considering we were there to help evacuate Koyuki during the coup. Konoha had already been trying to negotiate with Dodo, but those failed. I honestly feel that had those loyal to Koyuki and her father asked for help from Konoha, we would have aided anyways, explained Jiraiya. You'll be happy to know, Naruto, that Tsunade Heim is considering this an A-rank mission for you. Really? That's awesome, declared Naruto. I know we've already discussed payment. Koyuki was cut off. As I told you, you don't have to pay us a thing. We did it because it was the right thing to do, said Jiraiya. Still, I feel as if we are indebted to you for your role in everything. Nonetheless, I have sent an emissary to your village to negotiate what I hope will amount to an alliance and trade agreement between our nations, said Koyuki. I feel it would be beneficial to both our nations. I'm honestly not going to argue with that, said Jiraiya before the sounding of cannon fire was heard in the background, indicating that the coronation of Princess Koyuki was only moments away. Well, I'd better get prepared, said Koyuki. We can talk a bit more afterwards. The day of the coronation was one the land of snow spring would never forget. With their chakra generator running at full capacity, spring was fully in bloom and many of the once sleeping plants finally had a chance to bloom. Everywhere, the citizens of Yukigakure were dressed up and lining the streets that the coronation parade was to march down. As the drums and music began to sound, the parade marched its way through the city, with the new shinobi of Yukigakure and the heroes of the revolution leading the way. Masao, who was also a long-time friend of Koyuki and her father, had been named as the shinobi commander of the land of snow, and nobody was even willing to deny him of that title. Naruto and Jiraiya had also been granted an honorary spot in the parade and, while oblivious to Naruto, Jiraiya noticed the gazes of much of the younger female population checking out their hero. He also noticed how Masao's daughter would even try to walk as close to Naruto as possible before the other Yuki shinobi told her to fall back into formation. Following behind the heroes of the revolution was a large open carriage that was carrying the country's beloved princess, drawn by snow-white horses and surrounded on either side by 4 banner guards carrying large purple banners. The crowds cheered as some threw purple confetti over the parade, before the parade stopped at the temple where Koyuki was to be inaugurated as the daimyo of the land of snow. Standing atop one of the high platforms in the temple, Koyuki waved down to her supporters. For such an occasion, she certainly looked like a princess, wearing a flowing purple robe with a green and blue drape over top the robe. The one thing that stood out though was the large pink and purple hat that she was wearing with 4 tags draping down from the sides. It was at this time that one of the elders crowned Koyuki as the daimyo of the land of snow, and the masses erupted in celebration. That entire night was nothing but one giant festival and party with plenty of music and dancing to celebrate the coming of spring. You know, now that I think of it, there is one request I would like to ask of you, Koyuki-hime, said Jiraiya. Whatever it is, I'm sure it will be no problem, said Koyuki. What do you have in mind? You see, my student has this pretty girl back at home and I promised him I'd teach him how to dance. However, taking a look at some of the people here, I was wondering if you knew someone who could help him get rid of that second left foot, asked Jiraiya. Oh, I don't think finding someone to give him some dance lessons will be much of a problem, said Koyuki. As if on cue, Jiraiya saw the mob of girls swarm around his student. Lucky bastard, thought Jiraiya. Being Naruto, he honestly didn't know any better and soon found himself dragged away by Natsuki. There's definitely going to be some action if that girl ever met Hinata. That could be good for my next book. 3 months passed with Jiraiya and Naruto remaining in the land of snow. Unfortunately, with Koyuki taking up her duties as leader of the nation, she didn't have as much time to dedicate to finishing the movie, but it eventually found itself done and the filming was now over. Naruto's dance lessons had proven to be a success and he was even beginning to enjoy himself out on the dance floor. He couldn't wait until he returned home to Hinata to sweep her off her feet, as Jiraiya put it. Also for Naruto, the 3 months proved enough time for Yukigakura's ramen stand to resume operation and he was able to get his passport stamped for their specialty ramen, putting Naruto's total count up to 12. The master and student duo now found themselves on the deck of a large ship, ready to leave port and resume their journey. Once again, the people of the land of spring can thank you enough for what you have done. You will always be welcome here and please do stop whenever you get the chance, said Koyuki, giving Naruto and Jiraiya a bow. Don't worry, I'll stop by again, T-by-o, exclaimed Naruto. As the ship began to leave port, Natsuki called out to Naruto. Goodbye my love. I'll be waiting for the next time our hearts cross. L love? Oh crap, don't tell me, fangirls. Oh no, if Hinata ever finds out. Thought Naruto as he finally realized why all those girls were fawning over him for the past few months. Jiraiya caught Naruto's reaction and couldn't help but laugh, earning a glare from Naruto. Land of Snow. 6 months later, 4 figures were wandering around Yukigakure, looking for any information regarding a certain person. Seeing as the person they were searching out was considered a hero in this town, it wasn't hard to find someone who knew the name Uzumaki Naruto, or should I say Namikaze Naruto. Unfortunately for the searchers, many of the people of Yukigakure could sense that something was wrong with these guys, especially the giant in red armor, and while they mentioned the name of their hero, they only mentioned that he left 5 months ago. No information of where his destination was. It was at this point that the 4 searchers caught a slight waving motion coming from a back alley that was trying to capture their attention. The searchers readied themselves while carefully making their way towards the alley and a man stepped out from the shadows. This man was Senjutsu, the same man who had been captured and interrogated months ago. I hear you're looking for someone, said Senjutsu. We might be. Why, do you have something that might help? Asked one of the searchers, handing a photo to Senjutsu. That brat left 5 months ago. I believe the white-haired bastard said something about the land of iron. I honestly wish I could give you more, but that's unfortunately all I've got, said Senjutsu with an obvious tone of hatred towards the 2 heroes. Interesting. Your information's proved most useful, said one of the searchers. Whatever I can do to help make those bastards pay for what he did to my friend, he said, pointing to the small toad on top of his head. Don't worry, we'll see to it. There's nothing more you need to worry about, said one of the searchers before plunging a kunai into Sangetsu's stomach. While he might have provided them with some valuable information, he was still considered a loose end to the searchers that they couldn't afford for him to alert people to their true intentions. 6 months before that, in the land of iron. Damn, it's getting cold again, sighed Naruto as he started to shiver a little. The land of iron was located just a bit south of the land of snow on the mainland, and while it was slightly warmer than the land of snow, sadly that wasn't the case during this time of year. Jiraiya and Naruto trudged onward until they came upon the landmark that showed they had nearly arrived at their destination. From atop one of the smaller mountains they were descending from, the 3 Wolves Mountains appeared in the distance. The 3 mountains towered above the rest, resembling a wolf's maw. At the base of the mountain was the town of Sangaku, home to the samurai of the land of iron. There it is, Naruto, the land of iron, said Jiraiya as he pointed off into the distance towards the mountain. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.